Hello,
Hey everyone.
everyone.
Yeah, sure, you can go ahead.
No, Sahil, you can go ahead, I think. But the last day, the final day of the leg three of the Indian Chess Tour. Welcome back, everyone. And we are back to this two-horse race between Arvind and SL. Chat, what do you think? Is Arvind going to take it? Is Arvind, who has two whites out of the last three games, a 2 point lead, a clear favorite, is he going to just take it, win it once more? He's the defending champion. He won the leg two of the Indian Chess Tour and he's up against Vaishali. He seems already, usually, he's a lot less visible in his videos in the first three rounds, the first 3 days. But here he is with a much better camera, a much better light, almost as if he's prepared to give the post win interview. And he starts with 1 c4, uh, transposes to some kind of 1 b3. We have seen much worse openings from Arvind, so I think this is one of the better openings. And Sashwat, how do you have so much viewing time? But yeah, we are back for the. This usually comes from 1 b3. It has transposed into the uh, 1 b3 course of Adi1, which goes with 3 c4, knight f6, knight f3, e4, knight d4. And we have the present position by transposition. It started with 1 c4, but we are here anyway. Vaishali has been incredibly impressive in this tournament. She started off with just one draw in the first 5 games, but she's come roaring back. And since then, she has lost only one game, but notched up several wins. And no, Chad, it's not 1b3. It's not 1b3. And yes, the Champions Chess Tour, the next tournament has also been announced, the Julius Baer Generations Cup. And the winner of this tournament qualifies to uh, the Champions Chess Tour event starting on September 18th, the Generations Cup. Not just that, but the winner also qualifies to the grand finals of the Indian Chess Tour. That is going to be a final. It will the winner of each event, each leg qualifies directly to the finals, and the winner of that final becomes one of the regular players in the next iteration of the Champions Chess Tour next year, the next season. So a lot of grand prizes at stake. Why MPL winner to not given chance? Arvind was qualified after the second leg, but he chose not to play in the next Champion Chess Tour, which was in July at that time. We'll if we have him on the stream today, if we have him on the broadcast today, we will ask him why that happened. Meanwhile, some other exciting games as well. Vaishali in a little bit of pink, but another big game is between Divya against Vidit, where Vidit started with 1 e4, knight c6. I never thought I would see this. I never thought I would see Vidit playing 1 e4, knight c6. Never say never. And life has changed so much in the last 2 years, but still, Vidit playing 1 e4, knight c6, Vidit loves to play conventional setups. He hates getting worse even for a single move. And here he's thinking after the third move, knight c3, d6, bishop c4, and here he's already thinking. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that Vidit started with 1 e4, knight c6. There's just so much changing in chess in the last 2 years. But still, I never thought Vedit would do something like this, move away from the Berlin and play 4 9 c6. Unbelievable. It has transposed into 1 e4, e5 though, and Divya has developed in such a way that she has prospects of playing f4 before developing her knight to f3. Looks like she's directly going for the f7 pawn. And Divya has had a bit of a topsy-turvy tournament with a lot more turvy than topsy. She started off with a win in the very first round against the Beast, AD. And things were going well for her on the first day. She won one game, she drew one game. And on the second day, she was completely winning against Harshit Raja, but blended her queen in just one move. And since then, she has not been able to recover from that loss and has slumped to further 7 consecutive defeats. And here she is, the last day, her last chance to get in a few more wins. Not the opening that she has played very much within her style. She plays a lot of this Vienna, starting from 1 e4, e5, knight c3. So she knows what she's doing here, and that's what she has started out with. So f4 is the uh, last move by her, and although this allows knight into c4, d into c4, white wouldn't mind it so much because white gets quick development, and black will take a bit longer to get his pieces out. So this is where this is how the opening of this game has played out. And the game between Mitraba against SL is also an important game in the context of the championship, which has started out in a way which SL wouldn't be too thrilled with. It's so symmetrical. It's super symmetrical. And he's lagging behind Arvind by exactly 2 points. So he needs to win at least one game in order to be able to catch up. A draw will only give him 1 point, and he'll still be 1 point away from Arvind, even if Arvind loses. So he has a lot of catching up to do. And in the context of the conventional scoring system, something like a 2 point deficit is like it's almost like a 1 point deficit in the conventional scoring system. So tall ask for SL, but we have seen some incredible things happen. And just to give you a recap, yesterday it looked like Arvind was completely cruising. He was completely winning, and he had a massive lead, a 5 point lead, and then he played this move king to d7, forgetting that his opponent can castle, long castle check, and he lost his rook and instantly resigned. So this is how the title race heated up, and this is what happened yesterday in the last round in one of the most incredible events in the history of Indian chess tour. Back to Arvind's game in the last round. Back to Arvind's game. He seems to have gotten a nice position after bishop into d4, c5, bishop b2. Now, incidentally, I think this is the exact same opening which was played by Adivan against Prag in their match in the last year of the Indian Chess Tour, which was a knockout format. And Vaishali facing the same opening. They also have the same trainer, RB Ramesh. So they might know quite a bit about each other. And perhaps Arvind knows that Vaishali wouldn't be knowing this as well. So he goes for this g3, and Vaishali lashes out with h5. But the problem in black's setup is that this e4 pawn stands isolated. It's overextended, it's isolated. It's not easy for black to defend it with f5 that easily. d5 is just out of the question because d5 will be met with c into d5. So it's very easy for white to just go bishop g2, knight c3 and circle around the e4 pawn. Queen c2 is also a potential option to pile on the pressure. In the meanwhile, h3 is a very useful move preparing against h4 so that white can just go g4, a typical defensive pawn structure move, a typical defensive pawn posturing move. h5, h3, and if h4, then g4. So far, I think Arvind will be very happy with the outcome he has had out of the opening. And he also has a massive time advantage. So Arvind with the initiative.
Hey, hello, Shri. Who's piling
Hi,
on the
Sahil,
pressure?
where were you?
Oh, I just came in for a surprise. I thought I'll just meet my friend Shri. How is he doing? And how is everybody doing here?
Everybody was quite sad. Chat went like, where is Sahil? Where is Sahil? Where is Sahil?
Yeah, apparently my internet service provider does not like the, probably I don't know, was expecting somebody else to win or somebody else in the lead is really mad. It's not allowing me to come online, yeah?
Yeah, but you came at a good time, Sahil, because just as you arrived, AD unleashed this move G5.
Oh, okay.
Almost as if to welcome you.
Thank you, Eddie. I think he got confused. Maybe he thought it's Joel. I'm really sorry. It's me, Eddie, but thanks a lot. I'll take it.
Yeah, the Joel effect was incredible on AD. He saved a completely lost game against Arvind
Oh,
and
wow.
then went on to
G5.
win.
I just saw this. Wow. What is this move? Wow.
Exactly.
Wow, Harshit must be like stunned. I can totally imagine. He must be. I think it's early morning in US, so today I think he will have no issues waking up. Yeah, I think after seeing this move, you will wake up regardless of how many hours sleep you had.
Absolutely. The last time I remember them playing against each other was in the national teams pre-pandemic
Hmm.
in 2020,
Hmm.
and it was something similar from AD that time. He mated him down the G file with a rook sacrifice with the black pieces.
So what you're trying to say is AD loves the G file. Yeah, very interesting.
AD has mated Harshit down the G file before.
Okay, okay. Interesting.
So for Harshit, this must be like a deja vu, an
Hmm.
encore.
Hmm. Hmm.
This Harshit is like, oh, please, not again. No.
Okay, interesting statements there. Although which piece would he mate with? I'm not so sure. Does
I
he
think it
with the
will
rook?
be a combination of rook and queen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So two pieces, yeah. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And any other game where somebody's taking the edge? As we know, as of now, it's SL and Arvind, yeah, in the lead. So maybe we can have a brief look at those games also. Although right now, if you look at AD, like he is in for blood, yeah. He's not. I think we saw the same expression yesterday as well, right? Exactly the same. Exactly the same pattern. He's following it. Have we just put his on video on loop at this point? It's literally this posture. Then he goes forward. You can only see his eyes. Then he goes back.
Yeah, it does seem pre-recorded.
Yeah.
He's wearing the t-shirt from the Olympiad.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe AD is just actually chilling at home. Yeah, and it's just pre-record. Maybe. Could be.
Yeah.
By the way, I think maybe we can have a look at the game of Arvind for a second, just so I can check it out. Because I think as of now, the first place is pretty much a battle between these two guys, Arvind and SL. And Arvind is playing Vaishali right now, so he would back himself. But I think SL made the same mistake, I think, probably overextended and lost. Vaishali played a marvelous game yesterday, so he has to be also careful, yeah?
How do they have such good cameras, both of them?
I don't know, actually. I think that zoom effect really works. I have to try it out at some point. I think this really works when you the blur effect. Yeah, when you blur the background, it really puts you into the limelight.
Autofocus.
Chat,
Yeah,
who do you think will? Yeah, Sri.
Arvind doesn't need to do a lot to put himself in the limelight, though.
Yeah, true. I think true. Chat, who do you think will win the tournament today? I think Arvind SL are the favorites. Maybe we can have a. Oh, by the way, taken with the pawn. Yeah.
Yeah, going for the end game.
Hmm.
And they know each other quite well, Arvind and Vaishali. Both of them have the same coach from the same academy. So I think that will also be a factor. Arvind will be familiar with how Vaishali plays.
True. And I think Arvind is probably come with a different mindset. I think he's probably gotten the feedback of his coaches and others that you don't need to do something spectacular here. I think you have the tournament in your hands. You have your 2 point lead, and with only 3 rounds to go, nothing fancy is required. Even draws might not be so bad. Keep and not to risk it with some random opening, yeah, in one game. So
Yeah,
he just needs to play
reminds me
normal
of
chess.
the time when Sachin Tendulkar advised Sehwag to play without any risk. Lay the ball on the ground. And then Sehwag just got to his 200 with a 6
Yeah,
from
true.
195.
True. Winner from this play against Arjun, Magnus, and others. Yes, I just saw the post by Chess24. I think there is one spot reserved from this event. So you can clearly see, chat, how big this opportunity is. If you win this, you get to play against the top players, the absolute top players. It's not a joke. And that's why a lot is at stake.
Yeah, a lot is at stake. Not a lot at stake in the game between Divya and Vidit though. But Sahil, Divya has got such a fine position out of the opening.
Yeah, definitely. And although
do you know which opening Vidit played for this game?
I have no clue. I'll have to check.
Guess. 1 e4 was the first move.
I actually saw it. I'm sorry. My curiosity got the better of me. E4, knight c6, knight c3, d6. Very interesting.
Yeah. Would you ever have imagined that Vidit will start a game with 1 e4, knight c6?
Probably not. But I think I am not sure if this is like a particular game that he saw that Divya played, not like maybe inaccurately, or if this is just his way of gaining confidence, doing it the Arvind style. I think you can probably shed better light on that one. But the position seems to be decent for Divya here.
It's very nice for Divya. It's very nice because her knights are so much more active, and Black has to solve some significant problems with the c7 pawn.
Although, I made the mistake of checking the valuation bar, and there is a crazy move here, b4, which apparently gives white an edge. But would you play this? I mean, the idea being, of course, queen b4, there's knight c7, but then you have simply queen c6. And I personally, for one, would not play this. It would not, enter my radar of candidate moves. What about you?
No, I like what Divya has played here, queen to d4. I think it's a lot more practical. B4, the point is if black goes queen c6, then white probably should follow it up with knight d5, exerting pressure on the c7 point. And now, if bishop into d5, the z into d5, and knight into d5 is just out of the question. So this would have made things very uncomfortable for black here. But b4 is not an easy move to make, and it doesn't strike your mind that easily. So I guess that is the reason why Divya didn't go for this. Did you hear any of that, Sahil? You're muted.
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of peekaboo today, I think. So, I'll keep dancing around from left to right, back and forth. So, pardon me, chat. And Divya, yeah, she plays queen d4. I'm not surprised by that move at all. I think b4 was a bit much.
Yeah. Meanwhile, AD has opened up the G file. So part one of his plan has gone successfully. And it's a massive advantage for Black, Sahil.
And I assume you have to do something about this knight now. So do you go to d5, h5? Like all squares look very tempting because the f4 square is not available as such. So I'm not so sure where this knight should go.
Yeah, I like d5. It goes towards the center. And it can't really be disturbed so easily. c4, there's knight into d4. You have to watch out for some e into d6 related tactic, but here even something like long castle is an option. AD takes d into e5 first, then he will put this knight on d5, which is also fair because he doesn't want to allow any into d6 related stuff, and it's a pretty straightforward play for him. He's a pawn up, he'll go long castle, bishop e7, and then he'll just double the rooks, rook g7, rook g8. White is just busted completely.
Yeah. And to kick this knight on d5, you actually have to play c4, but that gives us the d4 and b4 squares. So the other knight can sometimes hop in. So it's very, very, dangerous for white. And white is not even developed. So Harshit under huge trouble here. First game in the morning for him. And Adiban in full driver's seat.
Yeah, complete driver's seat. Did you actually check the time zone? What time is it in Harshit's place?
I did actually. I think it was he usually is playing around 7:30 or something in the morning, as I saw yesterday, at some point during the first round. So it must be early morning for him. Yeah, you're saying, Sri?
That's tough. Yeah, that's very tough.
Somebody's asking why the top players in world don't have any women. Both men and women are intellectually similar, right? Yeah, I think it's more about the number of players who play chess. I think if you play any normal tournament, go to any tournament to play, you will see the ratio is quite favorable towards men. So it's just number of odds. I think more men in the game, more chances of somebody reaching the top. So that's why FIDE I think has this year of promoting chess among women as well. So that will be awesome. More and more women among chess would make sure that there's a higher probability of somebody reaching the top.
Yeah, and I think it's a myth that men are more logical, women are more emotional. Honestly, I don't see any concrete evidence pointing to that. I can get quite emotional myself.
Yeah, and if you need evidence, I can surely play a few games against any Indian top women player, and then you can watch me get adopted, and then you'll realize that's not true. So anybody looking for
Then they
evidence,
can see your emotions.
then they will see my emotions exactly. So I don't think there's any truth to that. It's just about number of people. Yeah, I remember there was this district tournament that I played, and they were like a few rated players literally playing the district tournament. And among women players, I remember like my friend just called up his friend who came, played one round, and went home. And there were only like 3 women playing. So she got second place in the district tournament by just showing up and playing one round. So it's just the ratio is kind of skewing towards men.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Arvind has taken a lead in this game against Vaishali. He has taken one pawn. He just captured queen into b7, but not just a lead in the game, but also a massive time advantage.
Yeah, and somehow um, this bishop on b2 is also all set to open, and after queen c6 check, it's already a very difficult decision. So how do you block this check? You can't really play bishop d7 because the bishop will hang. So it's not hanging actually, but I can pick up the pawn at least. Yeah, the queen defends the bishop, but how do you defend this check? It's not an easy choice. Rook d7 maybe.
I think you have to forget about castling, just cooking the food. But the disadvantageous part of forgetting about castling is that this will also this will also delay this rook's entry into the game. I think this is why it was important to start with bishop d6 here, and this would have given a lot more compensation. But starting with rook d8 turned out to be a big inaccuracy because now black is in this awkward situation. Something like rook d1, I think it keeps a lot of pressure.
Yeah. What black would love is for white to castle and then black having this well-timed e3 break. That would completely, block this.
Okay, you mean castle shot.
If castle kingside, then a well-timed e3 might just break apart the white kingside and suddenly all bets are off. But as of now, Arvind just controls the position really well. And and I think with the time match, it's going to be incredibly difficult. I think it's just clear favorite. I think Arvind is in this game.
Completely agree. Arvind is a massive favorite, and once again, he's done this exceptionally well in this tournament, bringing the opponent outside of their comfort zone by bringing them into an unfamiliar position.
And today he played one c4, yeah, and then one b3. So I think he definitely wanted to play b3, but he probably heard your comments yesterday. So he was like, I don't want to, make Sri mad, but how can I still play b3? Let me just start with one c4. I think that might be the strategy there.
Well, if he's so respectful about making me mad, then I'm happy. But I would bet that is the last of his considerations.
True.
Arvind is such a nice and cute kid, he's always the smallest in our groups whenever we travel together for tournaments and stuff. And he had such a sharp eye that he would always know my phone password. Just by observing, just by being around. He would just find out so many things just by silently observing. He would know my phone password. And he's the reason why I never installed any games on my phone. Because
Nice.
when he was a kid, he would always come in and he'll ask for like Temple Run or Subway Surf.
Hmm.
And first 2 times I gave him the phone, but then I didn't feel like giving him. So I would just uninstall the app, and when he asks for my phone, I'll be like, "Oh, but I don't have this game on my phone."
But it's surprising. Yeah, he asked for Subway Surfer and Temple Run, but not chess. Very interesting.
I don't
Other
think chess apps were much of a thing in 2014.
True, true. By the way, can we go to the SL game briefly? Because I think from his perspective, he would love to win this game. If Arvind, for example, wins, then if SL cannot win his game, that might be almost a guarantee for Arvind to win the event. So this is an all-important game. Shri, what do you make of this endgame, night endgame?
It it's certainly a little more pleasant for black because of the c4 and a2 pawn. But unfortunately for black, it's also just one weakness. So whenever the king comes to c5, white will give a check and drive the king back away. So it's not a total draw. White black has something to hold on to, but also he needs much more than that to pose more problems.
True, and it's also Mitraba he's playing, so Mitraba will not, he's played pretty well himself, and it will not be an easy match. And from your perspective, would you like want to see a closely contested match, or you're like, okay, if Arvind wins, he wins?
No, I would definitely love to see a closely contested match. The title race going down the wire all through. Um, it would certainly make things more interesting,
Hmm.
and I guess it's also better for the players involved to go through that challenge,
and
that
and
pressure.
having said that, I think the Vaishali game has turned out to be a bit more complicated than we thought, because the e3 move I mentioned has happened in the game, not in the best circumstances, because White did manage to play those queens check and so on, but still this is not completely comfortable, right?
Yeah, this is certainly some problems to solve for White on this side. I think if Vaishali didn't have just 1 minute remaining, we wouldn't pit Arvind as such a massive favorite. But
Hmm.
the problem is she really is low on time. Um, but that said, she has played extremely well in time trouble in this tournament so far. She has shown some amazing defense, and Arvind has to find a good move in this position. It's not so easy.
True, and it's like, you might have these extra pawns and everything, but if your king falls, it's over. And this g3 pawn is so important here, because White's dark square bishop, even though it's on the board, it's on the queen side right now, and White would do anything to somehow bring it to the king side at this point, and that's why bishop c1 already feels like a move you want to consider. And
Yeah, White's dark square bishop is reaping the rewards of starting with 1b3.
yeah, don't play b3. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the final lesson to be learned here.
Just look at the disparity of the lives of the bishops. The bishop on g2, the bishop on b2, and you understand why what is better.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. But one thing is true, that Vaishali must be really regretting spending too much time now, because I think her position is definitely promising, like at least practically. And what does White play here though? Because you can't go f4, the g3 pawn hangs. You take on e3 again, g3 hangs. So is it bishop c1 only, or is there something else he could play?
You can also take on f into e3, no?
Yeah, but then it's like, hmm, I just
Because
look at
queen
this.
into g3, there's rook into f5.
True, and I can't take on because queen is also. But this is like a position where I look at the structure and I'm already stressed out. Like, the g3 pawn looks so weak, especially with the dark square bishop. I don't know what to play in this move. Probably moving the rook somewhere. Maybe just rook f d8 here, defending the rook on d7, and then preparing some sort of
Yeah, rook f8 makes a lot of sense. He has
capture.
taken f into e3. I think it was the most practical move.
Hmm.
Rook f d8, maybe some rook d5 now.
Wow.
Try and get my rook to g5. Rook f8 is not an easy move to make though, with the amount of time she has.
She plays queen e6.
Yeah, she goes queen e6.
But now it's just rook f5 works, no? Rook f5,
Oh
queen
yeah,
f5.
simply rook f5 is game over.
Oh.
It's just some queen b1 check though.
But
So maybe not. Maybe rook f5 is not game over, but just start with e4.
and then bishop goes back.
Yeah, if the bishop goes back, it gives, I think, ample time for white to consolidate. Something like queen d5. The problem for black is you just don't have, black just doesn't have these threats. Yeah, e4, bishop g4 is, I think, likelier. But here also queen d5. Just exploiting the spin.
Oh, actually, I think after e4, the move you played. So, and then let's say, actually, after rook f5, what did you play as black?
Queen into f5.
And now e4.
Ah, okay. Queen e6 and e5.
E5, exactly. And I think this is
This is crushing. Yeah, this is crushing. This is crushing. Meanwhile, we have a draw in the Mitrova SL game.
Oh,
so if Arvind wins, I think he's really putting himself ahead of others.
Yep, absolutely. I think this game becomes very important, the Arvind game. Sasha has a question. Shri, has VD ever won the National Championship of India?
Yeah, I think he's won it once, although I don't remember exactly when it was. But I think he's definitely won it at least once, in which I was playing.
Although rook f5 has not happened over the board yet. Oh, I thought it already happened. So
No, I was making the moves.
Arvind is still thinking, he's taking his time. So he probably is calculating this variation itself. The fact that he's taken so much time. The good news of Vaishali is if he doesn't play it, he will at least lose his time as Yak to quite some extent.
Yeah.
And I don't think he has any way of knowing that SL has drawn. So that would have really helped his decision making here.
Yes, and he's gone for it though.
Takes it.
He's gone for it, and I guess Vaishali doesn't look so happy.
I think e4 played, so he has seen this all of this. I think.
Yeah, he seals the deal. I think with that he's really taking a unassailable lead.
Yeah, he goes to 29, 4 points. Yeah, so 4 points is a huge lead with 2 rounds to go. Yep, I think we almost know who will be playing Carlsen in a few days from now.
Yeah, if Carlsen turns up for that game.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, this is like game over. I think e4 and e5.
Vaishali,
she goes queen g4. She goes counter attack.
I think she kind of.
She kind of. I think we lost Sahil once again. Yeah, queen g4, but and then Sahil is back. Is he though? I don't know. But I don't know if Sahil is back or not, but Arvind is certainly back after a very disappointing day the previous day. He made a draw from a completely winning game against the Beast.
Yeah, it's.
Your voice is breaking, Sahil. Yeah, after a very disappointing end to the previous day, where Arvind had a draw against Adiban from a completely winning position, and he lost against SL from a very nice position. But his lead was so high that despite these obstacles, despite these stumbling blocks, he's back at it and increases his lead. And in the last 2 rounds as well, he's not playing one of the contenders. He has white against Mitraba and black against Harshit Raja. So I think Arvind has pretty much established himself as the tournament winner. What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I think so too. Shri, am I audible? Hello?
Yep.
Oh, I'm audible. Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Although my internet probably doesn't. But I have to agree with that.
Yeah. Zoom also agrees with that. And your network bandwidth is low. But yeah, unassailable lead. But we have seen some dramas in the games yesterday. We saw massive drama in the last round. But somehow I think we have exhausted her drama quota for this tournament, and from here on it's going to be smooth sailing for Arvind.
Although I remember
Me,
last time I think Nehal it was, right, who was completely lost and then came back. So you can never be absolutely sure. For example, let's say Arvind needs a draw in the final round, and if SL wins, he catches up with him. So then it'll be an interesting scenario where Arvind needs a draw. Who does Arvind play in the final round? Though that will also be interesting.
Arvind plays Harshit Raja with the black pieces in the final round.
Okay.
And SL plays Harshit in the next game.
So Harshit holds the key.
Yeah.
Harshit holds the key to this tournament as of now.
Meanwhile, we also have this pretty interesting game between Divya and Vidit, where although not quite relevant to the tournament, to the championship, the winner, this could be a massive upset if Divya manages to pull this through. And she was better all through the game. And even now, I think she has the chance to exert some pressure. C4 check, rook c6, attacking the c5 pawn, and asking Vidit what he wants to do.
Although I think,
and even if she makes a draw in this game, I think that would be massive.
Yeah. I think Divya definitely needs some confidence back. I think she's not had a single easy game, right? Because you are the lowest seed, and everybody feels like I need this point against Divya because she's the lowest seed. So nobody gives you an easy game. And even under normal circumstances, people push harder against you. So
Yeah,
if she can somehow even draw, I think that will be a decent deal for her. Although she's low on the clock here, she should keep an eye on that because all rook end games are drawn. But as long as people have passed pawns, anything is possible.
true. As long as why is Arvind keeping his? I saw Arvind keeping his hand on his head though. Did something happen here? Is something happening? Maybe we're writing it too early. Maybe we're just calling it too early.
Although I have to say, I still don't quite see the problem. Just bishop a3.
Queen into e2.
E5.
Yeah, you do survive with this, but some counterplay and some scary stuff, no?
Yeah, true. It's not easy. But usually when I see the bishop pair, I'm very happy. I'm like, okay, even if you chop off every single pawn there is, I still am fine. I'm not losing this in any case. And
Yeah, but Arvind isn't feeling so nonchalant. You can see he's a bit stressed, I feel. I think he feels a bit of pressure.
It's not my pawns I'm giving up, so he definitely must be feeling more pressure than I am. Bishop c1 play.
And he goes bishop c1.
Now just taking
there is pressure on both the players now. Yeah, you can take on e2 or e2 is likelier. E2 and she threatens queen f3 because that's a pawn you want to take. So he has taken rook into e2. She has taken rook into e2. Rook c2 was another option, trying to get the queen to e2. Bishop f4 and now queen f3.
Oh, bishop f4. Oh, he blundered.
Queen f3?
Queen f3, this is a repetition.
Queen c8 check.
Yeah. That's the best. Oh,
but why?
It's going to be a draw.
Also Rook G to check. Rook G to check. Yeah. Simple draw. Simple draw. What's happened to Arvind? Oh my God.
Oof.
Is Arvind just doing this on purpose to make the tournament interesting?
I don't know exactly, but Bishop F4 was a big surprise, yeah?
Massive surprise. Massive surprise, and that's a massive game-changing moment. Wow. Arvind.
The tournament is nowhere close to be over yet, chat. 2 rounds to go, only 2-point lead, yeah? Only 2-point lead for Arvind now.
Yeah, only 2-point lead. And if SL wins the next game against Harshit with the white pieces, who has been rattled by the beast, AD. Look at this position, Sahil. He's just a piece up, and Bishop h6, Rook d2 incoming. Rook into f5, I think just ignore it, go Rook d2, win the queen, and force the resignation from Harshit. This is such a massive. That's such a massive moment, and chat is going Tickoo Jinx Pro Max.
Hey chat, kya hal hai yaar? How are you? How are you, everyone? How are you feeling today? Who do you think will win, chat? I think it's pretty much a two-way race now between Arvind and SL. Who do you think will actually win the event? And maybe your top 3 predictions for this tournament. I'll let you know the standings briefly. Arvind is ranked first. SL is second as of now. Mitraba and VD are tied for third, and Ronak are tied for third place. And then we have Adiban with 18 points, but they're still playing their games, yeah. So that might be a bit of a shift around. We'll have to follow. He must be doing it for added drama. I am not sure how many Ekta Kapoor serials he has seen. I think he's a bit young for them. So I don't think he's doing for the drama. I think he just panicked a little bit there. I think panic is pretty human.
Yeah, you could see it evident in his face. So, by the way, Adiban is winning, and also Leon is defeating Nihal completely.
Wow, look at that pawn on d7. And again, the bishop
Adiban has just won. Adiban has just won, and you could see
Leon
the sigh of relief. Leon has also just won. Leon has also just won, which brings us to this game between Divya, brings us back to this game of Divya against Vidit. And what do you think, Sahil? What do you think is going to happen here?
This looks pretty much like a draw to me. Yeah, I think draw is the most likely because...
There's still some challenge for black, no?
But if I play h5 here, and that should be fine, right? I just save one pawn on the king side, and when you
h5, I think our idea is to play rook g5 here.
Oh, okay, that I missed.
Yeah,
g5 is interesting.
Yeah,
but but I have rook d5, something like this. I hope it works. I think it just works.
Yeah, but not the most cleanest way to draw. Vidit will not be happy with. I think that way of making draw. He will want something cleaner. Divya has just 7 seconds. I just hope she doesn't forget about the time. I really want. It would really be nice if Divya can stop her flow of losses.
Yeah, true. What happened to Nihal? Nihal actually, I think, he's lost his game to Leon. So not a good start to the final day for Nihal, who, by the way, was the guy who stopped Arvind. So he's had his pluses and downs in this tournament, but I don't think he has any chance to finish in the first place now, at least.
Yep. I don't think so. Meanwhile, we also have a draw just now in the game between Surya against Sham Sundar. Karthik and Murli defeated Abhimanyu Puranik. He continues his comeback story, and he has set himself up nicely for a top 8 finish. The players in the top 8 will get a chance to play in the leg 4 of the Indian Chess Tour. And there, Divya is going for the same idea, but see how nicely Vidit has cut off White's king. So it's so much closer to for the Black King to come in.
Yeah, just king d5 here, I think, should be an easy draw. And I don't think VD has much.
Yeah, I think this is how it will end in a draw. But I think still it's kudos to Divya's spirit. After losing like 7 games in a row, she came in and she played confidently against the first hero of this tournament with Gujarati. And she was on the advantage side of the draw in this game.
And yeah, it's very important for her to do it in the first round, because once you lose a game, then you kind of lose that morale. So when you play your first game of the day, I think you are much higher morale and confidence. So once you hold that game, that it becomes an easier path in the frequent rounds as well. If she had somehow blundered here, then it would have been kind of difficult.
Yep, absolutely. Sashwat is asking if I have worked with Nihal in this event. There's usually not a lot of work to do in the rapid events, not a lot of opening preparation. So I'm usually not involved in between the tournament preparation for the rapid events, not by a whole lot. And I'm also usually not all the time with them, not every single day.
By the way, Shri, how do you feel? Sorry to interrupt.
No worries, go ahead.
So I think, what do you feel of VD's point of view here? He started off really well. I think he had one draw and then like 4 wins in a row. And then he lost 3, drew against Mitraba, won against Raja, and then had a couple of more draws. So his second half has really not gone well at all, at least by his standards. So do you think he should be worried about these results, or do you think it's just rapid chess and he had a good start, so it's probably all fine?
No, it's definitely not just rapid chess. I think it's a pretty important tournament. And what happened? The game has stopped. Oh no, yeah, okay.
G4, yeah.
I was wondering why. It's not just rapid chess. I think it's a pretty important tournament. The rapid format is also pretty important, and for Vidit, I think he will feel very hurt by the performance. He will feel pained by the performance. He would have expected better from himself, and this will certainly not match his expectations. And in recent times, he's tried literally everything. He's disappeared off the YouTube scene, and in the last 2 or 3 months, he has even stopped vlogging. He's tried everything, but I think in this format, the online rapid chess format, the younger generation simply have developed a better skill set from what we have seen so far.
What a trap by Divya there, yeah? So if you had taken on G5 instead of Rook F1, that pawn end game was apparently winning for Divya. So after G4, edge G4 first, and then King G3, Rook G5, edge G5 was apparently winning because this king is not allowed to go back to F6. And this pawn end game is winning for white. So what a nice trap here.
Beauty.
Yeah, but with it, did not let it work for her, but yeah, very nice trap there.
Yeah, very nice trap and very nice effort also from Divya in this game. She has not been so intimidated by her opponents, and I think she has also tried her best, but the experience has been brutal for her. And I think it's ideal when you play opposition who are like 150, 200 points ahead of you. But if you're regularly playing opposition 300 points higher than you, then I think it can get very painful.
Yeah, true. I think this is the time where both players probably know what's coming, and they're just playing on. They might even repeat moves. Yeah, King F6, Rook G6, maybe.
No, I'm not so sure. I'm not sure if we'll repeat that quickly. I think, again, reading it psychologically, I think Vidit will try to play for a while just for that psychological thing. He's been suffering this whole game. He's been worse, and this is the only point where he's playing on an equal ground. So I think he'll just try to not force a draw instantly.
An important part by Sushil. So once VD plays more classical games, his confidence will be back. So in the recent times, I think the youngsters have played much more classical chess, I think, than VD. Do you think that is also one of the reasons? That because the tournaments VD has played in classical chess, it was, I think, in January he played Tata Steel. Then he played the next tournament at the interval of 1 month. That was the Grand Prix. Then the next Grand Prix after 1 more month. And then he had, I think, very few classical tournaments. Like he's not played those consecutive classical tournaments. You think that's something might be the reasons that juniors have improved faster?
It's not the only reason. Juniors have not just played more classical games; they played more all kinds of games. They played more bullet,
True.
more blitz, more
True.
rapid,
True.
and they can afford to do that in at this stage of their life. They have nothing else other than chess going on. I think it's just not practical for a 28-year-old to be doing the same thing. You have other things in life. You want to go back to home. You want to spend time on. You have other commitments and. Also, you just don't have that kind of energy. It's a different playing, different parameters for I think someone like Gukesh and someone like Vidit, completely different parameters. And also, it's just, I think, not fair to have this kind of comparison of juniors with anyone else at this point. The juniors are just at a completely different level of talent, different level of circumstances, and I think they're just better at this moment.
And the result, as we see, 4 draws there. That's not a normal occurrence. And Adhiban, by the way, playing a crushing game. His move G5 will definitely, be a pleasant memory for a while. And Nihal losing his game as well. I think it's time to look at the standings. Arvind definitely missing out. I think he had a chance to seal the deal in this round, but he messed it up at the end, I think, under pressure. And now the tournament is still completely open. SL is just 1 game behind Arvind. And, all lies in the hands of Raja Harshit now, who's supposed to play both Arvind and SL, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot lies in the hands of Harshit Raja, but also Arvind's next round opponent for the starters. SL will be white against Harshit Raja, but Arvind will be white against Mitra Guha. So, first thing is what happens in this round. If SL wins, Arvind draws, then they'll be on equal points, and it will be down all the way down to the last round. I think this is the pairing. This is the games to watch out for, and we have to go one round at a time. We have Arvind had such massive leads so far. He had such nice positions, and we have seen him be affected by the pressure, and he has made some inexplicable mistakes towards the end part of the game, even when he had more time. So clearly the pressure is getting to him. So we have to wait and watch till the very last moment. And it was the same for SL as well. It looked like he was breathing down Arvind's neck, but he lost this game with the white pieces against Vaishali, who actually has exemplary score against both of them. She defeated SL with black and drew against Arvind with black as well. So Vaishali has been the player who's played best against these guys. Lot to watch out for. And we have some time before the next game, but do stay tuned. We'll be back right after this break.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Christoph Silecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
I'm ahead of the game. Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy. Logically, I'm impossibly wanted. Then they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Ooh,
Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Jan Gustafsson and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it because you were in Thailand during all the match and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the two kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
It's a big pleasure to welcome both of you, and I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind the scenes insights. See you then.
I kept Chessable a secret for 3 years at least, and I was using it for myself. And I, maybe never expected how big it would become. I have always been into games, and I think games are fun ways to pass your time. Sometimes they can be educational as well, but I think chess is the perfect game that has it all. It's a game that not only entertains you, but also teaches you about life skills, from things like time management to the consequences of your moves or your actions. Once you make a move, you cannot take it back. I really fell in love with the game. And of course, given my competitive nature, I wanted to get better at it. And I found it extremely difficult after watching countless videos and reading some books. You would put in all that effort, and then when you get to the board, it's like it all disappeared, it all vanished, and you performed at the exact same level you were before that. And I looked around for a solution that could perhaps use the latest technology, the latest learning science out there to help you learn chess, and there was nothing. So that's how the idea was born. I've been building things since I was 14, and I always enjoy bringing a community together around a product. And we got a lot of energy from the chess community as well. Really from day one, when we announced Chessable, there was thousands of people who thought this was a good idea that had to be realized. And they've been fantastic with words of encouragement, support, advice, ideas on how to improve the product. And I believe they've been listened to over these years, and Chessable is exactly what that initial community wanted. And it's part of our product process to actually keep listening to them going forward into the next years. Chessable is definitely a product that was built by players for players. I think we have stuck to that vision, and it continues to be exactly the same. What has changed is we now have a lot more great people in chess helping us realize this. When I started, it was John and I, there was two of us, and then at some point we had 3 or 4 people. We had a small community around it. But now there is really an incredible amount of people that I never imagined all pulling in the same direction. So the future is bright. It really excites me what we can achieve together, and I just look forward to it. It's been absolutely incredible to see the reception by some of the top grandmasters in the world, like Grandmaster Anish Giri and Erwin Olami. And this sort of validation across the spectrum of players is fantastic, and it's really what keeps the entire team going. So, fabulous. Hi, my name is David Sinemaza Kramali. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Chessable and the Chief Operating Officer of the Play Magnus Group.
Welcome back, everyone, for the penultimate round, the round that will determine who is going to go into the lead for the final round. Arvind with the white pieces and SL also with the white pieces. Chat, what do you think? Is it going to be Arvind? Is it going to be SL? Is that someone? Is it even possible for someone to come from behind? AD is in the third spot with 21 points. So mathematically impossible for him to catch Arvind at 27. And I think the first place is just between two people now.
Yeah, as you said, AD loves meeting on the G file, so coming up from behind should be definitely possible. And SL, of course, as we see, he's on 25 points and he's just 4 points ahead of AD. So that's even, I can totally visualize, SL finishing third or something. And yeah, it'll be, okay. Did I not say this move yesterday, F4? Did I not say this? I said
you
this,
did,
no?
you did.
Yeah, so my prediction just comes true one day later. Yeah, I think that's just it.
Yeah, but Joel would have been so happy if he was here. F4 is like his second alternate.
Yeah, but he did not have a good game against Plucker, though. He prepared against his lines and it did not work out well for him. but being honest, I think this is, of course, White can play this if he's well prepared. But do you think, considering the situation there is, like, Arvind, a draw would have ensured him first, at least tied first place with the last round against Raja Harshit, who's, well, not having the best of tournaments. Do you think this is the best choice by Arvind?
I think it's not a bad choice by itself. The choice, not just by the choice itself. He's basically playing the reverse Stonewall, the reverse Dutch. He's playing these openings of black against white. But what he's having difficulty in is finishing from good positions. Somehow he's just getting under pressure. This happened against Adiban. This happened against SL, and now it happened against Vaishali as well. This has been his problem, and he's I think definitely taking more pressure than he should be, which is interesting. He because it's not like it's his first tournament win this year. He's literally won everything he's played, not everything, but like more than 50% of the events, and it shows that no matter how experienced you are, you're still human.
True. And the second knight comes to F3. Although with the bishop on G7 for black, attacking the king here would be not so easy at all. And black, of course, has 2 pawns, C5 and D5 in the center. There's a hole on E4 as of now, which is under black's control. So as long as black has control over E4, I think he's not really risking too much. He's even played A5. Maybe the idea is to play bishop A6 next exchange, that large square bishop, which is a good bishop for white. And I think it's time to also reroute the bishop from C1, yeah? Maybe to H4 slowly via D2, E1, and then at least give it a decent job to do. On C1, it's just looking at its own pawn.
Absolutely. It's a common way to play bishop d2, bishop e1, bishop h4. Meanwhile, Mitraba is smart. He's just playing as if he's playing the white side against the Dutch defense. And he has a bishop on g7.
Shri, sorry to cut you off. I think SL already has an edge against Raja. He already has an edge. So I just had a brief look at the evaluation bar. It screamed at me, check me. I don't know why. Because the knight e5 move, and now there's a lot of pressure on the black camp. You can see how the queen can also come into the game. The knight is under a pin. Black is not developed yet. And what does black do here?
I think you have to go g5.
Yeah, but then you're weakening. For example, if you play a move like knight to c6 instead of g5, I think simply knight to g4, I think should be the idea. And suddenly your king side will open up. This looks really, really bad. So I think maybe Shri's move g5 is almost, yeah. What else can you do? Can you play d6 and knight d7? Maybe that's an idea.
Yeah, d6 and knight d7 is an idea. I missed this. If I'd seen this first, I thought g5 was the only move. But this can also get quite dangerous. You know, there's a yeah. There are the black king is quite tender.
Okay, tender. That's an interesting word. And yeah, I think SL definitely happy that the black king is tender. And That means the tournament is actually heating up, yeah? It's not going to be so easy for Arvind to run away with it.
Yeah, I think it would be advantage for Arvind that he wouldn't be able to see SL winning this one. But
Sorry?
I think it would be advantage for Arvind that he wouldn't be able to see SL winning this one, because
true,
in
true.
over the board physical atmosphere, he'll be getting up, signing the score sheet, having a smile on his face. All these things will be a distraction.
True.
Online, you just sometimes you're not even. I used to have my Zoom minimized so I can see my opponent's face.
Akshat, I'm not really sure. Maybe there is some because it's the MPL Indian Chess Tour. Maybe sometimes it's easy to you can sometimes not have the link there. Maybe the people who are in charge are not checking it. It's hard to know for sure. But regardless, I think there's one spot directly available to the main tournament, which starts in just a few days, where we have Erigesi Arjun, we have Prag, we have Carlsen, we have so many strong players playing. So this is really important. This is not like a they're really fighting for it, a chance to play the top players of the world. And we saw how much influence that one game had for Prag when he got tweeted by out the Prime Minister of India, Sachin Tendulkar, I think everybody was tweeting it out at one point, Sri, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone was tweeting it out, and it's high stakes for both SL and Arvind, because they are not the names that people would turn to when they are inviting for a tournament like this. It would be Gukesh, Arjun, Prag, Nihal, and then they look at other Indians. But you have one slot for an Indian player, and you have so many of these talents. So these guys are not even in the top 4, top 5 of the invitation list. So this is their only chance to get into an event like this by qualifying, by winning the tournament. And it would mean a lot to both of them.
Yep. They still have Neiman Generation Cup. Yes, Kapil. And that will also be an interesting match to see. This promises to be a very exciting tournament coming up, because we have 3 youngsters. We have Carlsen, we have Hans, we have so many strong players. So every player, I'm sure, everybody, even AD right now, is surely hoping to have an outside chance. Like deep within himself, he's like, let me win 2 games and hope for the best. Can we have a look at his game? See how he's doing.
AD is playing against a super solid Leon Mendonca, who will also have a say in this tournament. Sahil, he plays the last round against SL Narayanan, so he will also have a say in deciding this tournament in a way. And he's been very solid. He started the day well with a win over Nihal, and I think he also has a nice position against AD so far. A bit early. We're still in the opening stages of this Botvinnik variation. It's the Moscow variation, right? Yeah, this is the Moscow variation with H6. Yeah, it's still the early stages. But AD taking so much time through the opening is not a good sign. It means he either doesn't remember something, or he's thinking he's in an unfamiliar zone.
Yeah. Usually when, in openings, when you basically capture an extra pawn, you have an initiative. But when you have this extra c4 pawn, it also limits your pieces, yeah? So you can't play bishop d3, certainly b4 is a threat. And it's sometimes even difficult to play such a structure as white. Although, of course, black, as you can see, not developed, has a lot of holes. The knight on h5, your castling is, well, not easy at all, if any chances are possible even. So white is pretty solid and has sacrificed a pawn, but let's see how it goes. For now, I think Leon is doing fine. He's also, I think, 4.5 minutes on the clock. So that should be decent enough. By the way, SL is apparently putting more and more pressure. That exactly happened, knight d7 and rook c8. And now I think it's time for queen d2, and he plays queen d2.
You called it, and he instantly played it. He's played queen d2. Rook e1 was the move played in between, which will be useful to get the rook onto g3 after this hit on h6. So it's a completely winning position for SL.
Yeah, but knight h6 is incoming, right? It is incoming soon, and followed up with rook e3, and it looks like a devastating attack incoming. So I am not sure how do you defend this black.
Yeah, I also don't see a defense for black. I think it's coming by force, and black is just lost here, completely lost. Such a terrible position for Harshit to get out of the opening. It's amazing how quickly it turned so bad.
Yep. Somebody else, having this debate about VD and youngsters. I think it's pretty difficult. Even though VD did not lose a single game in the Olympiad, I think almost everybody had their performance overshadowed by people like Gukesh. Like, just imagine, Joel joining us yesterday, and he did not even know how well, we had. I forgot the name again. The commentator to Chess 24 he was mentioning. David Howell. I keep forgetting his name. I get confused between many Davids I know. So how well he played, because the impact that Gukesh had, Abdul Starov had, and so on, it just kind of brought the other players in a situation where their good performance was not enough to be highlighted. I think that's the only thing. Otherwise, really had a decent Olympiad. He did not lose a single game. But Gukesh and Nehal, and then how well they played was just incredible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. AD is once again gone for G4, by the way.
I think it's a matter of habit now. As you mentioned, he loves playing on the G file, and he probably heard the stream. He's like, okay, Sri, you think I love playing on G file? Let me prove it to you now. Will Nehal ever cross 2750? I think he will. I think there's so many youngsters coming up, and few of them are pretty likely to cross 2750. Even, who knows, somebody might cross it by this year itself. Totally possible. By the way, H5 by Raja Harshit. Now, this is a kind of move which saves you from immediate trouble, but long term, it should just go from bad to worse, yeah?
Yeah, long term, it should just go from bad to worse. And for white, also, the plan is pretty simple. You just bring in your pieces, and there's just no defense here for black. The dark squares are bankrupt. There's no dark square bishop. And rook e3, rook g3, queen to h6.
Yeah, rook e3 played, and you really needed a dark square bishop here as black. The pin along the knight is so devastating. You can't even move the queen, because then I will take and the g file will open up, and that should be made soon. So it's just SL. What a important win for him, yeah. What an important win, most likely. And that means until Arvind will finish his game, if that doesn't happen quickly, I think SL would be the leader. I think for the first time in a long while, Arvind will not be the leader on paper until he finishes his game. Rook e8 played.
Yeah, and the bar seems to be going higher each second. It's like
yeah,
it's like watching Gukesh's rating.
Yeah, now queen h6 is incoming. It's just over.
Yeah, I think this game is going to end in the next 5 minutes. And 5 minutes because Harshit might try to take some time and find a defense, but otherwise it's hopeless. I think this is a kind of question where it's impossible to mess it up with white, even no matter what pressure you're in. It's too elementary.
Yep.
Too straightforward.
Harshit doesn't look happy here. Yeah, because everybody is gunning after him. As we saw, like he's playing both the leaders today, so clearly players coming at him with everything they have, and not a good morning for Harshit there.
Yeah, not a good morning for him, and he still has to face Arvind.
Yeah. But I think
he hasn't even faced Arvind.
Yeah, he has a chance to basically, be SL's hero for the day. I think if he manages to upset Arvind, SL will definitely send him a pizza or something, I'm sure. But as of now, Harshit not having a good day.
Yeah, as of now, he's not having a good day. How's Arvind doing meanwhile? Does he have... I think something went well for him just now. Queen e2, rook a7. Maybe rook a7 was an inaccuracy because there's allows d5. And
yeah, that allowed wider free tempo, and the knight can now have a good square on c6 if required. And somehow the black major pieces are on the queen side. Yeah, exactly. And now he plays g4, trying to play on the king side.
yeah, there are some real attacking possibilities on the king side now for Arvind. This knight will sit on c6, and he will start advancing his pawns on this side. So it's not going to be. It's a nice position for Arvind from objective perspective. Wow, SL has won. He's just won. Rook g7.
Yeah, what a finishing move, by the way. King h8 and just rook g7. Can we see the mating sequence, Sri, after king g7?
King g7, queen g5 check. King f8 or h8. Either way, there's queen h6 check. And bishop at f6 incoming next. King g8 does bishop at f6. King e7 does bishop at f6 check. And it's...
and for the first
black
time,
loses at least a queen.
SL is 1 point ahead of Arvind as of this moment. And that also means that chances for AD have been basically reduced to 0 because he cannot catch up with SL anymore. So the first place will definitely now go to one out of SL or Arvind. That's pretty much confirmed.
Yeah, I think it's going to be either SL or Arvind in the Champions Chess Tour, the next Champions Chess Tour, the Generations Cup starting from September 18. And I think once again, Arvind has some massive advantage here. Even if he doesn't win this game, even if he makes a draw, he would still be on equal points with SL. But in the last round, it's much easier for SL, I think, relatively. Sorry, for Arvind.
Can we go to Vidit's game briefly and see how he's doing Karthikeyan? Because he seems to have a 11-minute edge on the clock, which is, we've not seen this happen in the entire tournament, I think, so far. So such a huge edge on the clock for VD. And the position also seems to be pretty nice.
Yeah, the position also seems to be pretty nice. And I think Karthikeyan is a very comfortable opponent for Vidit with the white pieces, because Karthikeyan really struggles to have this solid opening against d4 with black. So that's they played in the Chess Super League last year, where Vidit just crushed him right out of the opening. It was a Ragozin defense, and instead of going for something super solid like that, Karthikeyan goes for the King's Indian defense, trying to give himself some complexity and counter chances. But Vidit is just too well prepared here.
Maharshi is asking, Arjun is playing Slovenia League where he's facing 2300s. Is this good for him, Srinath?
You can't have a custom set of opponents all the time. That is a thing. And one thing was he agreed to play the tournament at a time when he was much lower rated. He was nowhere close to 2700 at that time. And I think even he wouldn't have predicted that he would be like at 2730. But secondly, the opportunities to play are far and few. And if you end up being very choosy about your tournaments, playing only the super tournaments, there is a chance that you might not have anything to play, or you might have too few tournaments to play. So I think this is one of the challenges for both Arjun and Gukesh coming going forward, how they choose their tournaments from this point onwards, from 2730.
Yeah, absolutely true. And also because, because they've recently gained their rating, I'm sure the tournaments happening right now, even OTB, like the invitations must have gone out many, even before the Olympiad, most likely. So it's like they might not even know how strong Gukesh and Nihal and all these guys will turn out to be, Arjun and so on. So I think they will get more and more invitations now, and they will have more super tournaments. And as she mentioned, they might have agreed to play earlier. And of course, when you're 2700, you will end up playing weaker players at some point. It's very hard to always face stronger players when you're 2736 and so 2725, whatever the exact rating is. So you have to basically be ready to play all range of opponents.
Yeah, I think a good example for them is how Alireza went from this rating to close to 2800. And as far as I remember, Alireza also just continued to do the same thing and continue to steamroll players rated around the ranges of 2500, 2600, and that's how he quickly got to 2797. But he took chances wherever he got. It was as simple as that.
True. And now Lee looks to be dominating this position clearly. Black has played the King's Indian, but his attack is going nowhere, and White is already breaking through on the queen side. The queen is ready to come to a7. The b6 pawn is attacked, and if you manage to take on c4, then bishop comes to c4, and d6 threats are also there in the air. So I think VD is totally controlling this game. I think it will be important for VD and AD, I think especially, to maybe even finish on third place, fourth place. I think it is important to them to have a good finish here, even though the first two spots, at least the first spot is out of the picture so far. So maybe we can go to the Arvind game, because it seems like Black is also fighting back in that game.
Yeah, and so far in this tournament, Mitrava has been super solid. He has lost only twice, and in those two games also against Adivan, he didn't really get comprehensively outplayed. In fact, towards the end, he got a bit overambitious and blundered in the end. And the other game was against Karthikeyan, which I'm not sure exactly how it went, but so far he's been difficult to beat. He's been very solid. He's not high up the standings because he's made a few too many draws for this format, but he's been very hard to beat. So this is a challenging game for Arvind. But again, he has such a nice cushion. All he needs to do is win the last round and ask SL to defeat Leon with the black pieces, which is not going to be easy again. Leon has also been very solid.
True. And this is a very, very complicated position, by the way. It's not entirely clear, because ideally you don't want to take on f5 if Black retains the option to capture with the knight as well. And it's not entirely clear, because the knight on e5 is a strong piece, but it needs support, and White's pieces have no path, no clear entry. There's also c6 square, the e6 square available for White pieces, so it's very, very complicated. And yeah, I expect a result here. I don't think this will end in a draw. He takes on g4, by the way. Interesting choice.
Yeah, betting against a draw here is a bit going against the trend, because Mitrava has drawn 7 out of 13 games.
Wow.
More than 50%. And if White captures with the queen, then knight to f5. So far, Black is keeping it solid, but I think White is the one exerting pressure.
Yeah. By the way, VD seems to be completely winning in his game. If we can have a brief look. Looks haven't traded. I think he won some. There was an exchange. Sack on f3 by Karthikeyan, but somehow it feels rather too over optimistic, because the knight on e7 has no path into the game. The bishop on g7 does not have a part in the game. So it's queen and the bishop playing. And I can pin your bishop on c8 anyway with a move like queen e8 at any point. So it just means it's your lone queen, and that's just not enough.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Vidit will take this game. There's also a lot of fire on the board in the Nihal Surya game, where Nihal's king was in the center from quite early on. I'm not sure what is going on here. Nihal is also up by an exchange, but it's nothing like Vidit's situation. His king is out, not exactly in the center. He has good cover, but this knight on e3 it's a thorn in White's position.
So maybe a move like knight c4, trade this off, and also use this pin we have on the knight. If he can somehow remove this knight, then certainly Nihal just takes over, yeah?
Yeah, if you can remove this knight, yeah, he certainly takes over for sure. But the question is if there is some bishop to g3 check, knight g4 check.
Wow.
And something like this. But here also White stands to gain a lot of pieces. It's just too many pieces.
Yeah, true. I think this will be
But the
interesting
king
to
is
see.
exposed.
Yeah, I think black has some chances there to maybe force a virtual at some point. But of course, with rook f3, knight d6 incoming, it will not be easy. And
Also, the game has opened up like crazy in the Adivan Leon game, Sahil. The game has opened up like crazy. Bishop into c4 just taken by Adivan. It's not clear. The computer allows this for black, but practically, I don't think this is such a big advantage for black. Why black has to be very careful. He doesn't have that kind of time to calculate true things.
yeah, white's king is pretty safe. He's just put it on the queen side. The queen on c2 ready to join the party at any point. The rook on h1 coming to e1 as well. The pawn on d5 is a big asset, by the way. And yeah, this is not easy at all. So, and I would not be surprised if black has like a very narrow sequence of moves to escape this, and finding it would not be easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, big news in the Arvind Mitraba game. Really, really big news. Looks like something has gone majorly well for Arvind here.
Oh, wow. So Arvind, yeah. So maybe the trend continues. Most likely now, looking at the position, Arvind seems to be the driver's seat, and if he wins, he'll be 2 points ahead of SL. And
this time I have a feeling that Arvind might just compose himself and manage to close this one out, Sahil. I'm just going ahead and calling this because, I mean, it has happened a few times where he got into excessive pressure, but things have changed now, and it has changed to a level where SL is literally breathing down on his neck. And he can't afford to be casual about it anymore. So I think now some kind of an emergency response will kick in, and he will ensure that he nets this ball.
Yeah, and I think in the last round, at least, it will be in Arvind's hands. If he wins, he goes home with the first place. So he doesn't have to calculate much. I think SL will be the one who will be hoping for some other results to go his way. So it will be very, very interesting. And also, if last game Arvind has a draw somehow and SL wins, then tie breaks kick in, which will be interesting.
Yeah, which will be interesting.
Arvind should qualify, man. He won last. Yeah, I think Arvind has dominated this event clearly, but I think, of course, SL's comeback has also been pretty impressive, and Arvind has. I think he kind of his opening choices have been very interesting as well, and it kind of went his way on many occasions and kind of hurt him in a couple of games, especially the game against Nihal, for example. So, but we'll see how it goes. He started with f4 here as well, so he's not backing down at all.
He is not backing down at all. And here, d6 is crushingly strong because the situation as it is, white is up by an exchange. Black is threatening to take one of the rooks. But after d6, the problem is queen into e6, f into e6, and knight into d1. And here, I think the move is d7, which is what, which is stunningly strong. And this was, I think, missed by Mitraba, and Arvind is calculating this. And if this comes through, then it's game over for black. So then the question is, what do you do against knight into f1? And now I think d into e7 wins because of rook d8. Even if black takes this rook, for example, like this, even this is winning because there's no way to stop.
Yeah. And this is the variation he's calculating right now. And he has to find it, by the way. I don't think there's any other move which gives him such a huge edge.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he doesn't find this because this is totally within the Arvind land.
What's the Arvind land, though? This is a statement I'm hearing for the first time.
It's just a perceptive thing for me, what based on my knowledge of what he has done and what he's not done, his strengths and weaknesses, I can just imagine that he will find this move d6. He's very good at spotting such concrete, brilliant ideas.
Sahil fully ignoring the chat today. No, not at all. How is VD doing? I think VD is completely winning. We had a look where Black's pieces are completely tied. I think this is a critical moment in Arvind's game. We should stick to this game and see what is being played on this move. Because if Arvind finds D6, he's completely winning. If he doesn't find it, then it's going to be, it might even be a complete turnaround. So this move might decide the tournament, yeah?
Yep, this might decide the tournament, and my bet is that Arvind is going to find this and follow this through. What do you think, Sahil?
Yeah, I think he should. Considering he's taken so much time, it's a sign he's calculating this variation. And if he plays it, then it's just over, yeah? So he can spend enough time here, I think. Oh, he plays F6. He plays F6. Wow. Ooh, now Black is back in the game. Do we have another twist streak?
Seems so. Because what's his idea against A into F6? Rook. What is he doing?
I think he just did not calculate or see D6. I think once you don't see D6 and see this variation.
Yeah, it's not easy without the evaluation, but I agree.
Yeah.
I knew that it was white to play and win here. But that said, Arvind he's just so good at finding these kind of things, or even without a prompt over the board. And for him, the thing is he trying to make something like this work? Some Rook F7 here? I mean, he's certainly going for something similar. But this doesn't make sense because there's queen into d5. So what's his intention after e into f6? And e into f6 is such a natural move because, like you have the option to take bishop into f6 or e into f6, and you're putting this bishop into the line of fire against the rook. So why would you do that? You will take with the pawn, right?
Yep, he takes with the pawn.
Yeah. And what is his intention here? What does he want to do?
I have absolutely no clue because, honestly speaking, this just improves Black's position. The pawn structure is so nice now with the pawn someday coming to f5. The knight on e3 is forking your rooks. And yeah, you don't have the d pass pawn is not going anywhere. You had two potential pass pawns, and now suddenly it's just looking really good for Black. And if Mitrova wins this, I think going into the final round, SL would be in lead.
Absolutely, SL would be in lead, and that also takes things out of control from Arvind, because then if SL wins the last game, there's nothing Arvind can do to catch up. And in such an instance, even a draw would not get him anywhere. So Arvind has to win, and then he has to hope that SL doesn't win.
By the way, can you briefly come to Adiban's game? Because that game is really sharpening up, even though the valuation bar clearly says Black is in control, but it reminds me of the Bane dialogue in the movie Dark Knight.
Do you feel in control?
Do you feel in control? I am not so sure he feels in control with the king on e7. What do you make of this position?
Having an extra piece is sweet, I should say. And if Black had time here, then I think Black would be in the driver's seat. But with 30 seconds remaining, it just takes one blender for to turn around. Meanwhile, Nihal has won his game against Surya, so that will help him in his quest to finish in the top 8, which will ensure qualification for the 4th leg of the Indian Chess Tour and another shot at the CCT.
Yep.
Also, there will be a final, and the better you play, the better it improves your tour standings. So that's also at stake. And again, winning the finals will earn your spot as one of the main members of the next iteration's Champion Chess Tour. So there's always something for motivation. And the prize money system is also entirely based on your wins, draws, and losses. So even if you're like at the bottom, a win will still earn you $150 and loss $0. So there's plenty of things to motivate.
Yeah, by the way, VD is also completely winning. I think that should be over soon as well. And that will push him to third place in these standings if he can finish Karthikeyan off. And he seems to be in control here. Black just has two pieces, kind of creating some counterplay, but with the pass pawn on d5, and of course the rook here, I think that it should be an easy pickings now.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you there, Sahil. This should be only a matter of time, and you have to watch out for some queen c1 check related stuff. But there's always knight d1. So, and he's just plays the rook also to b1 to be extra safe and sure. And he's basically taking this one. Meanwhile, Arvind has taken rook into f6. So this is what we went for. With just 20 seconds remaining, 20 seconds on his clock, he went for rook into f6. Knight into d1, I expect incoming. And then once the queen gets to d5, e3 check will be a threat. It looks like it's just slipping away from Arvind.
Can we just take the queen as well, like queen e6 and then knight d1, so that we just remove any counterplay whatsoever?
And, this is so much more simpler, no? I mean,
and now
but is there some
nothing, yeah?
Is there some bishop c7?
Maybe
this is also maybe just winning, Sahil, but maybe you don't want to give up this piece.
Yeah.
But this is also winning because his e-pawn is just too powerful and it's just queening. So even if by chance black blenders something, he doesn't even need to panic because of this bishop f8 defense.
Yeah. And also Arvind now has 20 seconds, so that means he will not have time enough to use in the endgame. And the tournament is twisted on its day. I mean, I think at some point yesterday you were like, okay, this is going to be over yesterday itself. And then one by one, bit by bit, circumstances kept changing. And then now we are here one round before few minutes before the final round. And I think the tournament has completely changed now. I think SL is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, SL is in the driver's seat and it's totally up to him. It's not going to be easy for SL either though, because for the first time he'll be under pressure and he'll have something to lose. All this time he was playing catch up, so he just had to run as quickly as he can. But now there is a chance that things can go wrong, and there is a chance that he might there's something to lose.
True. And of course, SL is very, very strong. Yeah, I think I remember the Banter Blitz Cup, where he qualified, I think, all the way till the semifinals, if I'm not mistaken. And he's pretty strong.
And I got a lot of congratulatory messages thanks to that.
Nice.
It's not difficult for me to know what SL has been winning and what he's been up to, because I'm the one who gets the congratulatory messages. But this game is still not over because e3 was a bit of an unconvincing move, I think. And now this king is just coming to e2 and this pawn on d6 is still strong. There are some elements of counterplay for white here, despite being a piece down.
Yeah, that's true. I think if the c5 pawn was not there, then certainly it might be even more dangerous. But luckily for black, by the time we remove any of these pawns, it might be too late. And the knight on d1 for now also does not have any squares, at least decent ones to go to. It's all controlled. So I think black has many approaches. He could simply win the king to the center. I think that looks pretty logical. He can also try to cut off the white king, rook f7.
Yeah, I think this is important. This is important, although what it also does is it takes you away from the d pawn. And maybe this is completely okay, but you have to be sure about it. It's not such an easy decision to make. But also for white, the problem is there's no way to advance the d pawn. Yeah, I think we are lost. Yeah.
Apparently, AD has drawn his game.
That game ended in a draw with the repetition.
in the final position, apparently it was not clear who was even better, and they had a repetition. So I guess a decent result for both, considering the situation. And VD has also won his game.
And Mitraba has gone for Rook F7. Rook B8 check, I think Bishop F8 has to be played. Rook F8, D7, and now there's suddenly problems. Yeah, Bishop F8. Bishop F8 played by Mitraba. What an important win this is for
Yeah.
SL in the context of this tournament. I was so sure that Arvind would find the D6 and he would take the game. And Arvind's quality of play has simply not been impressive in the second half after he got into that 7.5 out of 8 the first 2 days. And to win anything in any sport, you have to finish strong. That's important. No matter how impressively you begin, it's important that you manage to finish as well. And in this instance, it feels like Arvind might not win this tournament after all if he continues to play the way he's been playing in the last 5-6 rounds. But having said that, once again, SL will be under pressure for the first time in this event. He'll be having something to lose for the very first time. And Arvind might just lose some pressure off his shoulders after this potential defeat, if it happens.
Yep. And also, I think in the current position, it just looks like it's a matter of few more moves now. And I think this pretty much sums it up. Yeah, I think as you mentioned yesterday, I think once you have the tournament within your grasp, basically maybe just not playing the pro.
Yeah, absolutely. Something similar happened to me last year as
would
well.
have been a good strategy.
Sahil, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we lost you for a few seconds there, but something similar happened to me last year as well. In this tournament I played in Bangladesh, the Sheikh Russell Open. It was my first classical over-the-board tournament post-pandemic, and somehow I surprised myself by playing really well. I had a lot of wins, and I was in the lead. And I was in such a lead, like Arvind, that the only way I could mess things up was by myself. People were not going to catch me up. All I needed to do was not lose. But that put me under such anxiety levels. It just I just couldn't take it anymore. And I've been in this situation so many times. I have been here all my career. But when it happened post-pandemic, and I hadn't been in such a situation for at least a few months, I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't handle it, and I collapsed, and I ended up finishing the 3rd place. So I can relate to it. I can relate to it very well. I think it can happen to anyone. We don't see it happen to people like Magnus a lot, but I think that's also because he's the strongest player in the world right now, by far. But if it reaches a stage where the younger generation catches up and Magnus is under some serious pressure, it could happen to Magnus as well.
And looking at this position, I was just for my entertainment calculating the variation after rook takes g3, rook f8, king f8. even if white queens first, actually black is still winning that game. That is how bad it actually is. So yeah, that is not a good sign.
Yep, that is. In fact, it's something similar is happening. Although black queen first, rook into f8, king into f8, and d8 queen. Still some remote hope for a perpetual, Sahil. And is Mitraba going for king g7 here? Yeah, he just goes for king g7. He's not even allowing this because queen into g3 is checkmate.
Yeah, very practical. And with this, I think Arvind definitely does not look happy. His eyes are bulging out, and he's definitely not happy right now. And the king can even just go to h6 now. Yes, he queens, and white is up on
A lowest
material, but it
checkmate.
doesn't matter. But it's mate in one. And with this, the standings have completely turned around. I think, as you can see in the results, SL won a very convincing game. He was the first to finish his game here. And Arvind losing at a critical juncture. And now I think we have two more games going on right now. I think we go to the Sham against Divya game, which is about to finish as well.
Yeah, Sham Sundar fighting for fighting for not for the championship, but I can't find the word. Respect, pride. Yeah, pride. He's fighting for pride.
Yeah, true. I think you want to. I think if you have the good last day, usually in anything in life, if you finish well, I think it kind of I think gives you a confidence boost at the end. And Sham has played a decent tournament. He was also unlucky in a couple of games, and right now he's dominating with this pass pawn on d6, and Divya is running low on the clock as well. So Divya having a good start to today's day, but now faltering against Sham, I think.
Yeah, I think Sham just outplayed her in this game. He was better right from the start, and he played a better game overall. And this will he will definitely want to finish well and leave the tournament on a good note. And he had a few very impressive wins. He defeated Nihal, but also Divan.
Yeah. And Shri, basically, when you mentioned, you were thinking about he's playing for I can't find the word. Chat was filling up your sentences with things: consolation, money, justice. So, I think people spilling out their own preferences there.
All of that also applicable, I think.
Yeah.
I think I should do this more often. I should let the chat complete my sentences.
Yeah, true. Pride, yeah.
Yeah. Pride was the word I was going for initially, though.
I think we can even have a poll soon who is going to win this event, because for the first time, it's so close. If in the final round, SL draws and Arvind draws, then SL wins the event. So if SL loses, Arvind draws, then we have a tie, then the tie breaks kick in. And if SL wins, it's just over. And I think this will be a very, very exciting final round.
Yep, and the tiebreak is direct encounter Sahil. So if they are tied, then SL takes the cake.
Wow. So Arvind under huge pressure to win, yeah? The draw would not do it.
Absolutely, he has to win. He has to win this game. Although Harshit has had an equally bad day. He's lost both the games. And those games haven't been even gentle losses, He's been swept across the board in both the games. So Harshit has also endured a difficult day, and the momentum has played an important factor in this tournament, as we have seen on several occasions. So that might still be the case, and this will be, I think, one of the nicer opponents that Arvind can get for the last round. An opponent who has lost 2 games in a row in the last 2 games, all the games actually today. Meanwhile, I think we can conclude that Sham is going to win here after showing a bit of technique. The other game between Abhimanyu and Arjun Kalyan. Now, Arjun has had a disastrous tournament, but he could also be looking to finish well here.
Yeah, he had a better day yesterday. I think he won the last round against Ronak. And yesterday he defeated Divya, drew against Karthikeyan. So he has had some sort of a comeback, and he's also winning against Abhimanyu, who I think has had a bad tournament by his standard. Although he also had a very good I think yesterday he had a very good day. But yeah, now this is just dominating for Black. Yeah, the king just escapes the checks, and now he's threatening taking on c3 and queening the b pawn at some point.
Yeah, and the king is very close as well to offer support. King to g1. Aren't you just winning by taking knight into f2 and then rook into c3?
Yep. Just take on f2. That should be an easy win.
Is there some rook h8 trick?
He takes on c3 with the knight directly.
Also should win because there's rook e1
Yeah,
check.
rook e1. Yeah.
So Abhimanyu doesn't go for it. But
Yeah, at some point, it was going the other way around. It was going the other way around. But as of now, black is in complete control.
Yep. Meanwhile, Arjun just sent me a picture from his airport gate. Apparently, he's in gate B3. These kids.
Which gate did you say? Gate?
B3.
Which gate?
Why do you do this, Sahil? You too.
Interesting. He is in gate B3. Nice. Interesting. Maybe the universe having a joke of its own there. Interesting.
I'm not sure if Arjun should board that flight anymore. Maybe he should take the next flight.
I think I saw that Netflix series Manifest recently, so that was very interesting. So, have you seen that, Sri?
No.
I highly recommend checking it out.
I'm getting a lot of recommendations today, actually.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of watching recommendations. Do you have any lifetime repertoire that you would recommend, Sahil?
I am not sure. Actually, I bought a couple, but I'm not sure which one would. I think it's hard to recommend a GM from opening, I think.
No, it doesn't have to be for me. It can also be for the chat. Is there something on the London system?
No, I personally learned the London by watching a few courses and also a couple of books. So I basically consumed whatever I can. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. If you want to learn anything, you just consume data from information from high quality sources and then just practice games. I think that's pretty much it.
Right.
By the way,
We're going for some stalemate.
Yeah, now rook f6 should be the end of the game, yeah?
Yeah. Then she'll play rook d2 and rook f4 is checkmate.
Rook f4 is nice.
Otherwise f3 is coming.
Sham is calculating just to make sure no stalemates here.
Yeah.
Okay, he is 8 seconds. Okay, plays rook f6.
Just giving some fake hope to Divya and then squashing it with rook f6.
Yeah, and Divya as well running low on the clock and she resigns. So
and Abhimanyu has also lost against Arjun.
All the games of the round. Yes. So we can have a look at the results. As you can see, only one draw there, and even that was, well, could have gone either way. And SL winning an all-important game. And, well, I think the final round is going to be very, very interesting. Mitrabha causing an upset there. And now we have SL for the first time leading this event and Arvind on second place. So it promises to be a cracker of a final round.
Absolutely. And we have people playing for the championship, SL and Arvind there. And we have a bunch of people playing for the top 8 finish, which will earn them a place in the 4th leg of the MPL Indian Chess Tour. A lot at stake, chat. And the games begin in just a few minutes. So stay tuned and we'll be right back after this break.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Christoph Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
I'm ahead of the game. Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker. But follow me. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer. The melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy. Logically, I'm impossibly wanted. Then they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Jan Gustafsson and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it because you were in Thailand during all the match and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the two kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
It's a big pleasure to welcome both of you, and I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind the scenes insights. See you then.
I kept Chessable a secret for 3 years at least, and I was using it for myself. And I, maybe never expected how big it would become. I have always been into games, and I think games are fun ways to pass your time. Sometimes they can be educational as well, but I think chess is the perfect game that has it all. It's a game that not only entertains you, but also teaches you about life skills, from things like time management to the consequences of your moves or your actions. Once you make a move, you cannot take it back. I really fell in love with the game. And of course, given my competitive nature, I wanted to get better at it. And I found it extremely difficult after watching countless videos and reading some books. You would put in all that effort, and then when you get to the board, it's like it all disappeared, it all vanished, and you performed at the exact same level you were before that. And I looked around for a solution that could perhaps use the latest technology, the latest learning science out there to help you learn chess, and there was nothing. So that's how the idea was born. I've been building things since I was 14, and I always enjoy bringing a community together around a product. And we got a lot of energy from the chess community as well. Really from day one, when we announced Chessable, there was thousands of people.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. The final round, and who is going to win this? Is it going to be Arvind or SL? A lot at stake, but only one place. And the games are just about to begin in few seconds. Chat, what do you think? And Sahil, what are your thoughts?
I'm very excited because it's a lot at stake. Usually the first place, second place, of course, the first place is great, but usually there's not a big difference. But here there is. And the first place gets a direct entry into the main event happening in a few days, where they'll get to play Carlson, Anish, and all these top players, along with Arjun and Prag as well. So I think there's a lot to play for, and only 2 players can get that spot as of now. Until the last round, we had Arvind simply cruising in this tournament, but SL for the first time has taken the lead. Now, SL is playing Leon, who's in better form, who defeated Nihal in the first round today. So clearly, he has a slightly tougher match, opponent who is in more form. But he's also 1 point ahead. So it's all within his grasp. If he wins the tournament. And then I think we should quickly go to the games, Sri, and see how they both do.
Absolutely. We don't have kickoff of these games. Yeah, we just have the game. Harshit starting out with 1e4 against Arvind. And I think SL starting with d4, e6, knight of 3, c5 against Leon Mendonca. So SL is going for it. But
I have a personal grudge against this move order, because I needed a draw for an IM norm and I wanted to play the London to keep it solid, and my opponent played this move order and I had to enter this Cole setup, and I was so angry at that point, and then I lost the game. So yeah, I hate this setup, this move order from Black's perspective, like to play as white here, for example.
Do you think SL also wanted to avoid the London?
I am not sure it's a big thing in the scheme of things for him. I don't think a draw is something he's looking for. I think he definitely wants to win. And yeah, let's see though. I think it's very hard to predict. I think at this point, strong players will just focus on the game. They will not worry about things beyond their control. And SL knows if he wins, it's over. As simple as that. So he just focuses on the game. Arvind, on the other hand, I'm very interested to see what the opening there has been. We should check that out as well. We've had very comical openings, and the trend continues. So, what do you think this is correct here? I mean, playing the Alakine in such an important game.
Yeah, I think here it makes sense because he has to win, and this will certainly give him a fighting position. Good chances that he'll also equalize from the opening. And also knowing Harshit, 2 things. One, he generally is quite confident about his openings, so he repeats them. He starts with 1e4. He generally has certain setups and he constantly repeats them. Here you can see that he's not going for some solid stuff like 4 knight f3. Instead, he just goes for c4 and f4, and he's just going for it. So the 4-pawn attack, and this is guaranteed to give a complex position for Arvind if he chooses to go for this.
Yeah. And as you can see, he's played g6, so he's going to put the bishop on g7. I think we just saw him look back at something. Something must have fallen. And now Harshit at least has a decent position here. He has the center in his control. And he would really like to finish off with a win as well. It's not been the best of days for him. He had a decent tournament so far. A draw against Leon, Surya, Vaishali, win against Divya, win against Arjun Kalyan and Abhimanyu, Shamsundar. So he has had a decent tournament. But I think now he's had 3 losses in a row, and he would like to finish off on a high.
In general, I think he's had a good tournament with white pieces. He's done much better with the white pieces than the black pieces. But that said, you wake up in the morning, you start with these 2 games. And his earlier white game against AD, he was just crushed. So I was going for actually a more graphic word, but look at Divya's opening. What is this? She started out with h4. We should have caught this, man.
What?
Yeah, this is what she did.
H4, D5, H5, H6, Knight F3, Knight F6, Knight E5, D4, D3, Knight D7. Okay, this is. I think she's just having fun now, and that's probably actually what I would do as well. I think it's fun. It's fun. You can try out in the final round, especially when the tournament is not gone your way. I think to have some fun and enjoy and have a, still pose a challenge to Nihal would not be so bad actually.
Yeah, it's like Divya knows just one thing. Yeah, just march the Harry down the board and checkmate her opponent.
And yeah, Nihal must not be used to this as well. People trolling him with H4, so maybe we might see some reaction from him. For now, Black seems to be absolutely fine. The bishop on this strong diagonal.
Look at his reaction. Look at his expression.
Yeah, he's laughing. He had a pause there for a while, and he's laughing as well.
Yeah, he's still laughing. Or is it? I'm not sure if it's just his internet lag or he's still laughing after seeing one H4.
I can imagine, yeah, Galmet are already setting up the video. So H4 by Divya against Nihal. I think he's already started making the video.
Have you also already started making the video on the side?
No. I have some health issues right now, so probably I should rest. But if I was in my full health, for sure, I think this is a very interesting start to the game.
Do you start making recaps even when you're doing the streams, Sahil?
No, I don't think during the stream I can do it. Otherwise, at some point you'll see me talking like this and without any noise. That might not work out well. So I don't want to look like a lunatic, at least. Having a low rating is fine, but looking crazy is probably not.
That's still arguable, I think, but yeah.
By the way, what's happening in the SL game? We had a brief look at it against Leon. So with the knight has come to e5, this reminds me of my norm game again. I think I had a similar position and I lost. I keep getting a trauma back.
How much traumas have you had related to the London system?
Too many to count. I did not get the London. No, that was the issue. If I got it, then it would be all okay. I think if you need a draw for a norm, I think playing London is probably decent. But then I did not get it over the board.
Yeah. No, I think a very solid position for white though. Not going to be easy for SL to. SL is also not that kind of a guy who goes berserk in general. And the thing is, SL will end up winning this tournament, even if by chance he loses and Arvind doesn't win that game. Like even a draw would ensure that Arvind simply catches up with SL on points. And in that case, the tiebreak is direct encounter. As we know,
if it's draw, then SL goes to 29. And if Arvind
no, I mean, if Arvind draws.
Okay, yes. True.
If SL draws, either way, it doesn't matter. Arvind has to win.
Yeah.
Whether SL loses or draws, it doesn't change a lot for him.
And he's traded off a piece and the knight comes to e4. And yeah, we might have a situation with only bishops on the board and these awkward 4 pawns of alternating color. And that might give it a huge drawish tendency. And if as of now, the position looks drawish to me at least. And if SL draws, he goes to 29. So Arvind, of course, this has to win. He has no other choice. And Harshit, of course, does not want that. He wants to finish on a high. So maybe we can quickly go to his game briefly and see. He's just played h3. And Arvind, for now, is 2.5 minutes behind.
Yeah, it's a very nice question for white out of the opening. He has managed to keep his center intact. One of the problems with advancing your pawns too far in the center is that they can become sitting ducks, weaknesses, and the opposition just uses them to develop their pieces, create weaknesses. But in this case, it has worked out well for him. He has the center intact. Black has a blockade on the d5 square, but white is aiming to get his bishop to f3 and fight against that blockade. So I think a nice position for Harshit out of the opening. This bishop will also come to c4, and it's not going to be easy for Arvind to try and find a way to win this game. He will need a bit of help from Harshit if that is to happen, and Arvind has to win this regardless of what SL does.
True. And also, I think these two guys are on 28 and 27 points. Then we have Vidit on 23, Ronak, Adiban, and Mitraba on 22. So it's a jam-packed field, around third place. So maybe we can have a look at the VD game, because if VD wins, he himself gets the third spot, which will not be what he exactly wanted out of this tournament, but will at least be a decent result in the end. I think third place is not so bad at all.
Yeah, third place is not bad at all. And in fact, to again put things in perspective, Kukesh finished fourth in the first leg of the MPL Indian Chess Tour. The second leg of the Indian Chess Tour, Arjun finished in the sixth place. So I think it's just simply that there's also a lot of scrutiny on with its performance. It's almost like people are waiting for him to fail so that they can jump on that. I see this a lot, particularly only with it actually. People are unforgiving to him.
Yeah, true. I think also VD has played many tournaments. I think in the past couple of years, the youngsters have played all sort of tournaments, and VD has mostly played the top level ones. So it's much more difficult to, for example, win those events. Now, of course, youngsters have also reached that stage. So it's like, he's the guy who's loved the most. So of course, people follow his every tournament with the full interest. And if he cannot win it, then sometimes there can be people who are very disappointed. It's just like cricket, a little bit. So you get all the love and you also get a bit of criticism. But I think I'm sure the youngsters rising and all this feedback, he can also take it the right way and focus on improvement. And he here would like to finish off on a high note by winning this game.
Yeah, and he's played the classical Sicilian Sahil, which is very interesting, has a lot of history. This was the opening that Vidit played against me, I think, the first time. It's his childhood opening. And he has had a love-hate relationship with that opening, with mostly a lot of hate, because with objective play, White does get a bit better here, and it is a risky opening for Black, the classical Sicilian. But that said, he started off with 1 e4 knight c6 against Divya. And there have been many times where I tried to persuade him, saying that, classical is not such a bad opening as you think. Why not give it a try? And Vidit would resist it each time. So I was actually going to text him today saying, oh, so you can play 1 e4 knight c6, but you're too good for the classical, huh? But now I can't make that text anymore.
Yeah, true. So maybe we can quickly switch to the SL and Arvind games now. I think it's crunch time. It's the final round and all is up for grabs. Yesterday I was really worried, as I mentioned, that the tournament finished very quickly, but we've come down to the wire now. And Arvind has just played the move Queen d7. So he's connected his rooks and he's keeping an eye on the white king side. I would not say overextended, but yeah, definitely there are some holes in the white camp. But white also has some space and these pawns. But there can be a counter attack launched at some point. You can see at some point the rook's coming to d8 and this d4 pawn can be a weakness. Harshit plays bishop f3 and now we just rook a d8.
Yeah, now just rook d8, and you're absolutely right. This d4 pawn is a tender spot which can be used by the black pieces. Meanwhile, the game between Leon against SL has, I think, gone in White's favor so far, the way it has progressed. This knight on d6, very strongly placed, not at all easy for black to dislodge, because if he takes it, then this bishop gets opened up. So this is, I think, very nice position for Leon here.
True. And
Leon has absolutely no pressure, so he can just play his normal game and try to win. It's only Arvind and SL who are under pressure, and they're not playing against each other.
Yeah, this reminds me of that candidates match where both Kramnik and Carlsen had to win and both lost. And then Carlsen qualified based on tiebreak. So you never know. We might have a similar scenario. If Carlsen and Kramnik cannot feel under pressure, then obviously it's not easy at all. And here white is such a solid position. The knight on d6 just controls everything. And if you ever take on d6, then the pawn captures on d6 and the bishop opens up towards d7. And with the opposite color bishops, it will not turn out well for black. So I think SL can hope for some long-term chances here. But as of now, white seems to be absolutely fine.
Yep. As of now, it's absolutely fine. And also, Leon is very comfortable in these positions. He's, I think, more of a strategic and solid player. Arvind has gone for knight into c3. So he started off some activities, and most likely this will be followed by a pawn break, f6 or f5. So far, black has been patient and waiting. So far, black has been, allowing white to go on a full offensive with his pawns. He's let white extend himself, and now he will look to get a break. f6, f5, probably start with f6 and then get the pawn to f5 and try and get towards white's king, open up the cover.
And Arvind definitely has a position where all three results are possible. So I don't think he's too disappointed with the position at all, and anything could happen here. However, I think SL on the other hand seems to have a position where winning looks almost impossible. So unless something dramatic happens, I just feel that a draw is the most likely result, even if we take a safety factor there for SL. And if Arvind wins, it might just work out for him.
Yeah. In any case, Arvind has to win at any cost. He can't. Everything else comes second. Meanwhile, SL has played the pawn to f5, which makes me wonder: is there some options with e into f6 here?
Yeah, definitely possibility. Maybe then you play bishop d6 now.
Yeah, bishop d6 and
control the g7 square, but definitely. By the way, I think SL draws or loses is the same thing, right?
Yes, for the perspective of the standings.
So clearly him taking chances makes a lot of sense because right, because there's nothing wrong for
yeah,
him.
but here he's not really giving himself much chances, I think. Like getting into just getting into a worse position doesn't create chances. Yeah.
There's a super chat. The first time I've seen it. It's so silly that we don't have these tournaments every 2 weeks. All these guys are so strong and keep causing suspense. That's true, but I think it's also because it's very difficult to find time from these players. They are very busy. They want to practice as well, and the fact that it happens once in a while also makes it special. I think if they keep fighting every week, every second week, it will be so much fun. And I think it's special because it happens rarely.
Yeah, and thanks for the super chat, Tanmay Singh. What Sahil says is true, but I think this month we are kind of going to have this event every 2 months, 2 weeks, because the Generations Cup is coming up in 2 weeks, and the fourth leg of the Indian Chess Tour will also happen very shortly after that. So I think we're going to have a lot of events coming up in this month. This is just the events from the Play Magnus group. Apart from that, there are also many exciting events coming that is set to happen otherwise. So lots of things coming up. In fact, there's just no break at all. The calendar is so packed, so many events happening. There are these little gaps in the calendar, and then someone sees it and schedules a tournament at that slot. As far as I can see, till the end of January, till Feb, it's such a packed calendar that some of the players are just simply not going to have any rest. I think we may have lost Sahil for a few seconds again. Unfortunate, but we can't have the London system every round.
Today.
Is this your protest against the players not playing the London system?
How many times will I get lost this stream? I don't know. Somebody needs to take to meet my mom, I think, at this point. But anyways, um, I do agree. I think the calendar is pretty packed. And that just means that we have a lot of events to look forward to. And yeah, I think we also have the Asian Continental coming up. I think that will also be an important tournament, which with 5 spots, I think, if I don't with the World Cup, I think, available there. So that will also be very interesting.
Yeah, that will certainly be an important event for those looking to qualify for the World Cup, but they don't have as higher rating. I think E into F6 taken. E into F6 taken. So bishop into D6, queen into E6 check. I was also wondering if rook D1 is a move here. An intermezzo. What do you think?
Yeah, possibility. But I think I was maybe okay, I'm not sure what to do here though. I do want to move the bishop somewhere.
Also,
and go on these
some major
squares.
action happening in the Harshit game, Sahil. This is very interesting. We'll just return to it in a few seconds. But also, Harshit has just played the pawn to E6.
Okay, so the game is sharpening up here as well. And yeah, so you should take this, I assume.
Yeah, you take this, knight into E6, queen into E6. I'm assuming knight into E6 is the only move, queen into E6. And now what do you think is Harshit's game plan?
Queen B3, I assume. Typical London move. I'm really assuming it should be the move, and you have this huge center here. And
we go into a position where it's just it doesn't feel like it brings a lot of cheer for black.
Yeah, I really like this position as well. I think you are not really risking much at all. And if Harshit can somehow win this game on demand against Arvind, then that's not going to be good news for Arvind. I think SL will be pretty happy.
Yeah, SL would be pretty happy. Harshit would be pretty happy, but Arvind would be devastated. And he's already had such a difficult last 2 days. It's so sad to see such a meltdown by such an amazing player. But it also sums up Arvind's, I think, the two sides of Arvind very clearly. He's been prone to amazing brilliances, and he's also sometimes done the exact opposite, some crazy things which if only you could have only one side of Arvind, I think then we might even have Magnus Carlsen. But because of the second side, the other side, the other extreme, he has a very bipolar chess style.
Yeah, I think we all have that two sides. Yeah, one day we are playing so well, and one day we struggle. And,
yeah, but usually the difference is not so much. It's not the difference is usually not like 2850 performance and then 2450 performance. Like at my best, I play at something like 2650, 2700, and then I can fall down to 2450, 2400. I think that's plus 100 plus 150 is somewhat realistic. That is true for most people. But to have a rating difference of inconsistency of like 300, 400 points, plus 200, plus 300, I think that's a bit unusual. But this is where things stand in Arvind's game right now. He's played his pawn to f5. White can increase his advantage with something like takes through k7. I'm not sure if this increases his advantage, but it certainly keeps things under control for white. He has a better pawn structure on the queen side, and black doesn't have as much of a pawn structure on the king side. And especially if white is happy with the draw, then this is the direction. But things have heated up incredibly in the Leon SL game. Things have really heated up. Sahil, look at what's happening. Rook d1, allowing bishop into h2 check, king into h2, queen into e6, rook into d8, rook f8. And I stopped my calculation here because I couldn't see what is going on. passed here.
Wow, this is like gorgeous, yeah. This looks like a very crazy position now. And
But this is what attracted me when I first suggested this variation with E into f6. But the bar is not impressed, and is what did I and Leon miss?
maybe
Something earlier? Because bishop into h2 is the only move here. The bishop is attacked. There's a pin. You can't defend the bishop. You have to take
what about
it.
bishop f8?
Oh, bishop f8 is simple.
And if
Queen into c6,
queen
rook into
c6,
d2.
yeah. And you're 13
This is brilliant. This is brilliant. Maybe this is what... But SL has his hand on his head. The body language doesn't look cheerful, no?
No, but I think he's calculating. Yeah, he's calculating. He's still not. His hands are far away from the mouse, so he's fully focused. So he will find it. Yeah, he doesn't look convinced though as of now.
Yeah, but he absolutely has to find bishop f8 because this line I think is losing. This line with rook d8, king f7 takes. This pawn is queening by force, and if black prevents it with queen g6, then rook d7 and rook into b7 should be winning. So he has to find bishop f8, and this is a very sophisticated maneuver.
Always you have to take care of back ranks. Yeah, I think that's why usually is recommended.
He's gone bishop c8. He didn't see bishop f8. Extremely hard move to find, and this kind of throws in the towel, no?
Yeah. So now you can just take on d6, and if that happens, then SL is completely lost.
Yeah, he's just completely lost. He's I think kind of hoping for a draw in this position, which initially doesn't look so bad, but it is very bad because the bishop on f6 is super nice. So it all boils down to the Arvind game now, because I don't think Leon's going to mess up this one.
You know, I called it. Yeah, I expected a draw or something like this here, or a loss because I just felt. Okay, no, I did not call this. I called the other thing. What did I call actually? Even I'm confused.
You call it off stream.
Yeah.
You call it during the break.
Even I'm confused, I think. But regardless, I think this means that we have no clue what is going to happen. I think let's have a look at what's happening in the Arvind game for a second, because that if somehow Arvind can win this game, it might give him amazing chances. But can he really win this game?
It looks very tough for now, Sahil, but easily not the craziest thing we have seen in this tournament. We have seen so many turnarounds. I think it started with the 5th round between Nihal against Vidit. And then it also happened on the same day for Vidit against Arvind. And it's almost like karma, The next day it happened for Arvind and against SL. And we have seen so many turnarounds, so many inexplicable blunders from players that we thought would never do it.
Yeah. Leg 3 winner will play in yes. They will play in that tournament, and that's why the first spot is of real importance. Everybody wants that opportunity, and you know what? This is going to be a battle which I apparently can't predict. By the way, Leon has taken on d6, and that means SL's position is falling apart.
Yeah, at the very least, I think we can conclude that SL has no chances of winning this one. It's only between a draw and a loss, both of which doesn't change a lot. I'm not entirely sure if he'll be aware of the tie breaks, though, if someone had told him, because chess players are generally very bad at reading the rule book.
But I think he would know this. I think somebody must have told this to him, because by yesterday, it was pretty clear that only 2 players had a legit chance to get first place. So he might have confirmed this yesterday. If there were more people in the mix, maybe he would have not checked this. So I think he's aware of this. And that's why you don't see that panic on his face, even though maybe he realizes the position is lost. And the fact that he played this move f5 pretty much tells me that he knows the tiebreak situation. And he feels a draw and a loss is pretty much similar from his side. And that's why he went for this f5 thing. And but the thing is, he has no clue what's happening in the other game. So his decision is still incomplete. And it all boils down, I think, to the Arvind game now.
Yeah, no, I think it just became a bit too much pressure for him to take. And Arvind has lashed out of the e5, and his position objectively for the first time in the game is close to equal. But the drawback of this move, I think it forces White to go into this. He has taken it. He's taken the pawn on e5. And now White is a pawn up. Black's best way forward is to try and recapture the pawns. But in doing so, he might end up trading a lot of pawns. And a draw is pretty much the same as loss for Arvind as well, because he wouldn't be able to catch up with SL anymore.
Also, I think the third and the fifth ranked player are both better. Adibar and Vidit, with the black pieces, are both pushing in their games. So they will most likely also end on a high. But of course, they have no chance for first place in this tournament. So that is also interesting. And Shri, what do you predict in the Arvind game, though? I think it's pretty clear SL is probably not going to get out this game with his king alive. But what about Arvind's game? What result do you predict here?
Under normal circumstances, I think draw is a fair result, Sahil. And also added to the fact that once again, Harshit is absolutely under no pressure. He has nothing to gain here, not even the top 8. He's not even getting into the top 8 with a win. So he's under no pressure at all. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. And therefore, the probability of making some kind of a massive blunder is also, I think, not so high.
True. But Arvind, of course, has to win. So he knows it, right? So I'm sure he's aware. And that means we might not see any sort of quick draw here. And the game will last long. He will try to push here. He will try to... I am not even sure if the e5 pawn is an asset or a weakness. It's very interesting. So there's some pressure on this pawn, but the bishop on g5 kind of controls it well for now. And now the f5 pawn is hanging. Interesting. So
yeah,
I assume after rook f5, your plan is to play rook f7?
or rook d5. I think rook d5, because you don't want to trade so much. No? But
I thought the king will
rook...
come to e6. But yeah, rook d5 also looks decent.
Yeah, true. The king is nearer, but what do you, how do you play after bishop f4?
King e6, let's say.
Yeah, and then you just take this pawn, yeah?
Yeah, and then somehow you have to use all your forces. Now I have rook d8, rook d3 coming up, rook d8, rook d5, rook f8, and so on.
Yeah, and I just recall that White had sacrificed a pawn earlier with e6, so White is just one pawn up here. Although Arvind sacrificed the 2 pawns just now.
But still,
that gives him some chances, I think. The king coming in. In that case, White has to be careful because the e5 pawn is said to be recaptured.
Yeah. Most of White's pawns are fixed on dark squares, so they can be chopped off tuck one by one. And the structure is kind of spoiled for both sides, although Black's pawn structure makes nobody happy here. The isolated pawn on a7, double pawn on the c file. It would be very difficult to win this as Black, though. Like, very, very difficult.
Yeah. Meanwhile, some moves in the Leon SL game as well, but I think the kind of moves that makes it absolutely clear that SL has to resign. There's just no hope now.
Yeah. The queen has no square to maintain protection of the rook now. So I think this might end. Yeah, this is just over. The pawn on G7.
SL would be devastated that there was bishop f8. It only makes it worse for him. I mean, if there was no defense, I think he wouldn't be so devastated, but he had a defense and he didn't find it, and that's going to cost him a lot. That's not going to be easy for him to accept.
Yeah. By the way, Nehal is also winning against Divya now. He seems to be in a better position. He has, I think, one extra pawn and a slightly weaker king. Reminds me of the VD game against Nehal, where he had like 2 pass on the queen side and VD won the game. So very similar.
Right.
So
SL fighting on with king f7.
Okay, interesting.
But
But now I can just take on c6, right? And you take on d8, and then this pawn g7 is so strong that long term you will not survive here. Like usually the bishop endgame is so drawn. Here, even the bishop endgame, I'm not so sure if it's actually holding.
Yeah, and the game, Harshit Arvind game continued with rook d5. But turns out that this is actually an inaccuracy, Sahil. Rook f7 was the move to play. Rook d5, bishop f4, rook c5, rook e3, and you're keeping the z3, e5 pawn intact, and the black king is just not coming on time.
Mm-hmm.
So we might see a scenario here where both the leaders lose.
But actually, looking at this position now, I feel somehow this is more imbalanced, right? Like it just gives both sides more chances somehow. So now he's at least attacking the c3 pawn and capture the c5 pawn. So you can't push the e pawn just yet because rook f5 hangs. So maybe in terms of imbalances, this is not so bad for black. Like at least gives him some chances.
Yeah, but in the absence of threat, white has all the time in the world to bring his king and then do stuff. And black, as you mentioned earlier, bad pawn structure. The king is not riding into the game anytime soon. And this e5 pawn being alive, that's I think the worst outcome of this rook d5 move.
But rook e6 now, there is no way for the king to ever join the party, right? Because earlier you had these rook f8 ideas. Now it's not easy at all to bring the king.
Yeah, now it's not easy at all to bring the king for black. And white has, with c4, he just improves his pawn structure even further. He's actually going for mate, rook d3, rook d8.
Yeah. Black is also having some counterplay, but I don't think there's any serious one. Like you have rook a1, rook g6 ideas, but the e pawn will start running. So you dare not go for it. And here black has to probably save his king first.
Yeah, bishop into e5 is not possible here because of rook g3 check. And if king h8 does rook f8, checkmate. And rook g6, you can just take this piece.
Yeah.
So rook d3, what does
1.5 minutes for Arvind. He really needs to play fast and play good moves here if he needs to. If Arvind loses, the tournament is over. Then SL wins. And it might, as we thought, turn out to be the candidates kind of tournament where both leaders lose.
Yeah, he plays h6, which is a very sensible move. And now this introduces king h7, king g6. I don't think Harshit saw this one.
Yeah, the king has a different path now to come into the game.
This one's going to go down right to the wire. And SL, we can be sure that he's not going to survive that one. So I think it all comes down to this. This will tell us the story of the tournament.
Yeah, as
and Arvind has to win.
Yeah, Adiban is completely winning, it seems to be. And Karthikeyan is completely winning. VD seems to have a better position. So we are having a lot of results here, but I think the critical games are these two. So we should stick to these one for now. And he plays king h8, gets out of the pin.
Yeah, because he couldn't play king h7 because of rook f7. So the king was pinned and king h8 is the most logical move. And Harshit has made a
rook f7 here.
Yeah, he goes for it.
Oh, he
bishop into e5.
Isn't it at least a first draw now?
Yeah, it's at least a first draw, but Harshit is not the one needing the draw. Yeah. I mean, if it's a situation where Harshit has to draw and Arvind has to win, then it would be over. But
who's better friends with Harshit? Is it SL or?
I think SL is better friends. Yeah.
Okay. This is where friendships count.
I think SL is a better friend.
Now, chat.
He can actually take the draw, yeah?
Yeah, he can take the repetition right now. Rook f8, rook f7 check. And the draw will ensure SL a victory. So it depends if Harshit wants to fight on or not. It totally depends on Harshit now. So,
how deep Harshit's friendship is.
Yeah.
Arvind is thinking for rook a into e5. What's there to think about here?
Yeah, it doesn't change much regardless of which rook you take. If white wants to draw, he gets it. And yeah, Arvind doesn't look happy. I think after rook f8 check, that will be the end, and SL would win the tournament.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
I
it
don't think Harshit will play rook f8 check. I think he'll take on c7.
c7, yeah. Yeah, he takes on c7, but he still maintains. Okay, now there is no forced draw, so to speak. But yeah, with the rooks on the
You can still make a draw at rook c8, rook c7.
yeah, true.
But Harshit has been better for a good part of the game, and in normal circumstances, you try to keep trying, keep the game alive as much as you can, keep finding chances.
Yes. Chat, do hit the like button. Let's get to 500 likes if possible, because we will know the winner of this tournament in just a few minutes now. And Arvind relaxes back. He knows that, this game is probably going to end in a draw. And maybe we can have a brief look at SL's game. What happened there?
SL's pawns have all been captured, and in any other circumstance, I think he would have already resigned. But since the tournament situation he's still playing on, but there'll be a situation where there will be these 4 passed pawns.
Yeah. So SL is, you rarely see an opposite color bishop endgame be so winning, but this is one of those cases. White has 4 connected passed pawns, which is insane, so to speak. And by the way, Karthikeyan has defeated Shams, so that's one result. And SL has also resigned, so Leon wins. So we have 2 results already. Leon finishes with 23 points, ranked 4th right now.
Yeah, and Harshit goes for rook d3.
Okay.
Now, if it was a team event, the captain would love to step in and ask White to offer a draw. But we saw that was not possible already in the Gukesh Abdusataro match, the India-Uzbekistan match, where
the rules were changed
Gukesh
this time, right?
Yeah, the rules were changed this time for fair play reasons. The captain commenting on advising on the draw offer also gives an indication to the player about the evaluation of the position.
True.
And
by the way,
this question is a draw.
Rook g7, yeah. So he's like, okay, now there's no forced draw. Let me just at least fight on for a while. But yeah, with 3 pawns each in a rook endgame, it's not much to play for.
Yeah, he's just surviving because rook d8 was a threat, and he has to survive. And white is slightly better, although it's 0.0. It's white has the better pawn structure. It's white to play, so 1 extra tempo, and white can keep trying here. Rook into g7, king into g7, rook d7 check, rook a7, rook a6. He keeps the rook on the 7th rank. There's really no way white can lose this unless on internet or mouse live.
By the way, AD has won his game. The final position is actually quite beautiful. If you can have just a look at it, the pawns just cruising through. I think similar to what these 4 pawns SL had, and AD has won his game. Nehal and VD also very close to victory.
Yeah.
Yeah, this only feels like only white can win this. So to be honest, this is like a dead draw. But if anybody is pushing, it's probably white.
I think very realistic chances for white if he manages to get one of these pawns. These pawns are much likelier to fall than the b3 pawn or the c4 pawn. And Arvind has 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1.
That was too close for comfort, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, he trades off 1 pawn. That really helps for the draw's chances. Rook b5, a4, takes, rook takes c5. Now, 1 pawn for white, some winning chances. But yeah, you just put the rook behind the passed pawn. Rook a3, cutting off the king, putting the rook on c3, attacking the s3 pawn as well. If you get that pawn for free, awesome. And white will probably push h4 and then try to bring the king closer and then push the c pawn. King g7 played.
This allows the king up, no?
Yeah, he plays h4
Or are we
first.
misunderstanding rook in games?
I don't know actually. I think white has good chances though now, because the thing is I can put the pawn on h5 maybe and then directly bring the king. Maybe.
Yeah. Rook c6 you start with, no? Oh, no, rook c6 is rook h3. Something was wrong there. This allows king f6. h4, h5 looked so hasty and
That
careless.
was my idea to h5, but probably it's wrong.
No, the
Chal, by the
idea
way-
is good, but at this point, this just lets the black king out.
True. Chal, by the way, top 8 still qualify for the next leg, so top 8 definitely matters. There are many players fighting for those spots, and black has enough time to calculate this stuff here, I think. And now the rook on c5 is tied down, yeah? So if you move the rook up to c8 and the h5 pawn falls, he plays rook a5, but you can't really play c5 here. So black is actually pretty fine. He can just maybe even play king e7 and just bring the king closer to the pawn. He plays it. By the way, Nihal has won his game against Divya, finishing off in a queen endgame there. So Leon wins against SL, Surya loses to Adiban, Divya loses to Nihal, Karthikeyan defeats Sham, VD is playing Arjun, and Ronak is playing Abhimanyu right now. And although this is the critical game.
Yeah, and this again impossible to imagine white being able to lose from here.
Yeah, true. I mean, even if you chop both those pawns, still there is, I think, not a serious chance. So, yeah. So I think that pretty much like gives us surety, yeah, towards the winner, unless we have some internal disconnections or I don't know. I think this just means that we pretty much, okay, I should not call it out. Probably we never know. Chess has seen weird things. Chess has seen weird things happen. Let's just see how it goes.
Yep, let's just see how it goes. No, but this h5 move by Harshit was a draw for, I think. Not a move of substance at this point. And now they're repeating. They're repeating.
Yeah. Yep, it's a draw. So Arvind gains half a point and he ties on the standings with SL 28 points each. And tie breaks, I think we'll of course verify, but as of now, it seems to be that encounter, and that would mean SL would probably get the first spot in this leg. And that's really, really awesome. I think he came back from, I think I would say it was almost unbelievable. You know, at some point this might happen, but he came back with some spectacular wins. And congratulations to SL, yeah?
Absolutely, and it's really important that we had that graphic out there so people don't get confused that if it was SL or I who won the tournament. Clarification, it was SL. And again, zooming back to this moment, Sahil, this was the moment, the long castle check that lost Arvind the championship. Even if, everything else had gone wrong, but he had drawn this game, he was a bit vigilant here. Even then, he would have won the tournament. But this classic moment, this helped SL win the third leg of the Indian Chess Tour and earn his spot to qualify for the Champion Chess Tour, the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour's next event, the Julius Baas Generations Cup.
Yeah. And I think his preparations will continue now because he's going to play a much stronger tournament. And maybe for now, we can quickly go to the other games and see how they're doing. Vidit is still playing Arjun Kalyan here. And he was completely winning at one point. He had an extra pawn and 2 bishops against 2 knights. But Arjun actually has come back in the game. And this now seems to be, well, I'm not sure who's even better here.
It's certainly better for black. But I think it's getting equalized quickly. Yeah, I think it's just equal. Because it looks like a draw actually.
Yeah, a3 falls, b5 falls, then d5 falls, and it will just be pretty equal.
Yep. And we'll also be shortly joined by the champion, the winner of the third leg of the Indian Chess Tour. He's already here. Congratulations, SL. Can you please unmute?
I did. Thank you. I mean, it wasn't easy at all. I thought like Arvind would easily win. But yeah, I was quite lucky in many games.
At which point did you feel that you are in with a chance? Because I think for largely throughout the tournament, it felt like Arvind was actually, in fact, going to end it with a day to spare. And he also had a pretty nice position against you. So when did you start believing that you are in with a chance?
No, I think after his second last round, I thought, okay, to beat Harshit with the black pieces is not easy. So there I already thought, yeah, I had some, I mean, irrespective of the game, but also I had to take some unwanted complications. And yeah, I think that led to a disaster for me, but yeah.
And SL,
but you
sorry,
yeah, sorry,
how did
Sahil.
it feel to play that queenside castling move? Like, how did it feel in that moment to get that pattern there?
I was happy at that moment, but later I mean, after some 30 minutes after the game, I realized it was his birthday. So I wrote to him.
What did you write to him?
No, I mean, I'm not so proud of that. I mean,
Sorry.
yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Sad birthday to you.
So how do you feel winning this? I think at some point it must have been very difficult, and now you've won this barely, and you're looking forward to the next tournament coming up, which will be much more difficult. So
yeah, but I'm not sure I'll be able to play that because already I have committed to playing in the Spanish league. So I mean, still it's a question.
Okay.
I have to figure it out.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting.
But this also earns you the qualification spot for the finals of the Indian Chess Tour, which will also give you a chance to get into the full season of the next Champion Chess Tour, like how Prag got in the previous year. So that is also an added incentive.
Yeah,
and what
much more.
Sorry?
That feels so nice to like directly qualify for the finals of the
absolutely. So what do you have any specific moment in this? Okay, that's a silly question to ask. Your favorite moment of this tournament, because I think we already know that one. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. No, but I
But
think.
Do you have any other moment?
I think like in the game against Raunak, I won quite convincingly. Like I had some preparation, and then like he messed it up with this G5 move.
Mm-hmm.
So like basically his pieces were passive on the queen side. So I had to, it was me who had to create something on the king side. So this G5 was just very bad in that sense. And yeah, I was
right.
This game, I mean, gave me some momentum to win some games, at least I believe. Against Vidit also, I was very lucky. But I think against Adiman, I played a good game. And against Harshit as well. So some good games, some bad games, some luck.
Yeah, but I think you were pretty consistent all through the event, and the win was a just reward. Also, largely undefeated in the second leg of the Champion Indian Chess Tour, right?
Yeah. I think there also I lost to Leon, actually.
Right. Also, did you see Bishop F8 in your game?
Yeah,
today?
that was a crazy moment. Yeah.
When? You mean final one, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last round. After Rook D1, you had Bishop F8 here.
Ah, really? Yeah. Okay. I didn't see. I was only considering Bishop into H2 and this Bishop C8.
Bishop into H2, but I think this position is lost.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was calculating something else, like Bishop H2, King H2, Queen E6, Rook D8. I thought Rook F8, FG7 even as well.
Yeah, FG7, Rook E8, and now Rook D6 similar to the game.
E6 was what I saw. Yeah. I mean, you take and then play Bishop F6. This endgame should also be winning, but maybe not so clear. Yeah?
Right. Yeah. Probably also winning, but bishop f8 and black is not losing here. Black saves the piece.
Yeah, I didn't see. I think I might be winning.
Yeah, could be. Could very well be. Maybe it's not so, not such a big advantage for black here, but I'm not sure how white salvages this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big miss.
That was a big miss, but still didn't matter. You managed to have the better tiebreak again, thanks to the direct encounter. And Sahil?
Yeah, meanwhile, in the final game also, I think they just drew. So that pretty much is the end. I think there was a queen end game there, and they just repeated moves.
Right. Absolutely. And do you have any more questions, Sahil? Chat, any more questions for SL?
Yeah, I mean, what was your preparation going to the tournament? Because clearly this is a strong event, and anything special prepared for in terms of openings or anything else?
Well, I wanted to play really fast and like wanted to win more games than like previous leg. I understood like draw we get just 1 point, and for win 3 points. So even if we lose and come back, I mean it's much better than drawing 2 games continuous. So I was taking risk as well. So I think.
You started off with a loss in the tournament as well with the white pieces. How did you feel at that time?
I think I didn't prepare anything for that game. Just after c4, e5, I was out of book. I knew some lines, but I didn't revise properly. So I think Gangs played good, but I played very bad, I think.
Was c4, e5 by itself unexpected considering Gangs' repertoire?
F6, yeah. So he played e5. I considered, but I didn't prepare so well.
Right. Also, another question: are you very surprised by the openings of many of the games here? Especially Arvind seemed to be doing it almost every game. But we also saw Surya starting with 1e4 knight c6, Vidit starting with 1e4 knight c6, and everyone doing these kind of funky setups.
Divya
Very
starting with
surprised by
h4.
that.
Divya with
Maybe
h4.
I also have to do it next time.
Is this a trend that kids should also be learning?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting approach, getting fresh positions and thinking about the board rather than following already known paths.
Right. Which the London system doesn't offer anymore, yeah?
Yeah.
The fresh positions.
Yeah, true. And somebody's asking, how's the preparation been since the Olympiad? I assume it's like, after the Olympiad, it might be a bit of a low, I think, in terms of, I don't know, emotions, I guess. So in terms of
it wasn't easy to adjust to the reality. So I wanted to play more tournaments just to keep that thoughts away of missing the medal. So I think I played like, or at least I prepared well and played the Sands Open. And now I'll play some 2-3 tournaments in a row.
Nice.
Yeah, but which tournaments are they going to be? It's still not decided, yeah?
No, like first I'll play Spanish League, which starts from 19th. So then this chess mode open. This much is decided. Then I'll stay somewhere in Europe. And Bundesliga also I'll play.
Right.
Shri,
Now
I
in the
think
chat asking if SL and I are brothers. We are not. Yeah, sorry, Sahil.
Yeah, I was saying that once we can look at the final standings, if we can, I think it'll be interesting to see where everybody finished. So SL finishes on top, and Arvind finishes second. Adiban third, and Mitraba comes fourth. So pretty impressive performance. And Vidit finishes fifth with the draw in the final round, and Nehal sixth. So top 8 we can see. So Karthikeyan just missing out by 1 point there.
Yeah, Karthikeyan just missing out by 1 point. The bad first day affecting his tournament entirely. Shout out to Vaishali, who had an excellent tournament. Again, tough start. She was the second last seed coming into this tournament, but she played several good games, including one of the few players to defeat SL in this tournament, and that too with the black pieces.
That she
What
played.
went wrong in that game against Vaishali in the opening?
I don't know. I mean, at some point I thought Prag was playing. Just joking. Then I understood. Like I missed this 90 to intermediate move. Like I forgot it was a check. After AB5 I took.
1 second, let me just bring that up. Yeah.
So like when I took AB5, I forgot 1982 was a check. My intention was AB94, and obviously 92, and I thought I was okay, more or less. I mean, black should also be fine, but it's playable position. But yeah, once I missed 1982, I was like, I think I was completely lost.
Yeah, it was just completely lost, and I think she finished it off really well. But also, I think you had some chances later on, no, around this point.
Yes, I had, but it wasn't easy because still I'll be a pawn down in a rook endgame, which I saw in some lines.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't. I wasn't sure like which position was practically easy for. I mean, tough for her.
Right.
Well,
Right.
SL, I think it's a huge congratulations to you, and great performance there. I think the comeback was insane. At one point, I was wondering if the tournament will be one way, but an insane performance at the end. And congratulations, and thank you for joining in. And Shri, well, I think it was insane. Yeah, I think just the insane comeback.
Absolutely. Insane comeback, and really happy for SL, who has had several consistent performances all through, and a lot of tournament wins, but this win will give a lot more recognition, potentially launch him in the global scene. So hearty congratulations once again, SL, and a lot of congratulations there from the chat as well.
Thank you. Thanks to all the messages.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. And we'll let you go on that note.
Okay. See you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
I think SL must have some party planned. Although he sounds like the guy who would just go back to practice. Like he sounds very genuine and very hardworking. Anna, I assume. Although if I was there, I'd probably be celebrating right now because the comeback was just like the tournament was spicy till the absolute end. Like it was so nail biting because we did not know who would win. Both results mattered. So congratulations to SL, and also hard luck to Arvind for missing out like the first place. I think he was winning the event throughout. And just at the end, I don't know if it's his opening choices or if it's just bad luck or just some couple of bad games there. But yeah, still tied first technically, and great performance by both players.
Great performance by both the players, and a lot of great performances by some of the others as well. Shout out to Vaishali once again, and also Mitraba, who finished in the 4th place, if we can get the standings again. Mitraba, I think one of the few 2500s out there. You see, it's populated by all 2600s, but Mitraba finishing in the 4th place, and also not such a well-known name outside of India. So shout out to a lot of players for excellent performances, and also the fighting chess and entertaining chess that they provided. And
also I think one shout out Divya playing 1h4 in the final game. I think that game definitely will be one, we'll have many videos on, playing h4 against Nehal Sareen. Not an easy thing to achieve. And I think she's also played this in the National Rapid and Blitz against somebody. So she's known to push the h pawn.
Absolutely. And a big thank you to MPL Chess 24, and most importantly, the chat, the people watching. Thank you so much for joining us and being with us through this journey. Thank you so much, Sahil. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating with you.
It's been lot of fun to do it as well. And just one question before we leave: which was the gate at which Arjun was sitting? He just sent you a text. No, which was the gate? I forgot. I just want that information.
I also don't seem to remember that. Oh my god!
Chat,
we
chat,
have
can you remind us?
we have this move on the board. Oh, okay, but you can't see the board. Yeah,
Can you
B3 was
remind
a
us?
move.
Which was the gate? Gate number? I think somebody in the chat might know. And yes, Shashwat has mentioned it correctly. Absolutely. So that's
All
it.
right.
That's it, I guess, Sri. It was a lot of fun to comment it on here. And chat, thank you for joining us. I think this is a great tournament because, you don't have only the top players playing. Everybody gets an opportunity. Everybody, the juniors, they get to play against Vidit and, Nihal and everybody. It was a great tournament and a lot of fun to watch because till the end, we did not know who would win.
Yeah, it was a nail biting event till the very last round, the very last move. And like last time, we had two people tying with the same points. Last time it was Arvind and Nihal. And this time it's Arvind and SL. And with SL not being sure about his participation in the Champion Chess Tour, we'll see who's going to play that's going to start on September 18, Julius Bar Generations Cup. So do tune in for that as well.
Yeah. Thank you, chat. That's it for today. And as she mentioned, we'll see who will be playing that tournament. Kudos and any final words, Sri, and then we can end the stream.
Just a lot of thank you to everyone, and see you all soon.